Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all doing? I see there's many people in the chat already. We've got Lucan, Harrison, Mikey, Almost Adapted Flatworm, Sir Hammerlock, hello, that's a new person unless they've just changed the name. David, hello there. Mac, I'm just going to call you Mac because your name is, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pronounce that right. Gary Pfeiffer, how are you all doing? You know, one day, maybe in the future, I won't be able to say everyone's name because there'll be so many people hopefully turning up that I'll be like, yeah, I'm not going to say hello to everyone individually at the beginning. But anyway, we've got a special guest tonight. We've got Al, aka Dr. Tanystropheus, here with us tonight to chat with me. How you doing, Al?
I am doing excellent. Behold, for I am Dr. Tanystropheus.
Yeah.
Prepare a sound effect.
Just before I get into all this, have you got that image of the Tanystropheus with the bowler hat and the pipe?
Yeah, I posted
Could you
it.
post it? Could you post? Oh yeah, where did you post that? It was in Meme?
I'll send it to you.
Send it to me because I'm going to put it on OBS and put it so people can see you. It can be you. Let's see. Gary says I'm here and the winds are a bit noisy outside my apartment. Oh, look at that. That image is great. So I'm going to save that. Yeah, it's been really warm here and then it like dropped in temperature. So it's gone. We had like 2 days and it felt like summer. And then it dropped back down.
It was 60 yesterday in this unmarked region of the eastern United States.
Oh, you're East Coast, are you? Dr. Tanny. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little Dr. Tanny to here. To the OBS. I don't know why I didn't think to do this before. There you are, dude. You are now there with me. I'll have to drop the blurred for spoilers. So it's a bit of a mess, my setup at the moment, but there we go. Whatever.
Marcier? I want to pronounce it like French, but I know it's not French.
Marcier.
But he does not prefer Mac, apparently.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'll call you Marcier then. Or Marcy. There you go. How about Marcy? Anyway, right. So I'm going to be painting this picture you guys can't see, but Al, I've given you a little teaser, and it's probably spoilt the hell out of this episode for you, but you did stipulate that you wanted to see.
I'm still reeling from the shock. So much blood.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw Rose as a hulking monster beating up on a Tanystropheus army.
My people.
Yeah. What were we talking about just before we came live? And I said, I'll save it for the thing. Where were we leaving off? It was something. Oh, we were talking about online bloody video essays and stuff. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a whole sub economy now, and it's fun to track. And there's negative stuff always has more legs than
drama
positive
sells,
stuff.
man. Drama sells.
Which is partly why I think you don't see a lot of big defenses, like you were saying earlier, of controversial films.
Well, I would say you do see defenses, but they're usually really crap. But what I mean is like the both sides of the defense and the against videos that I've seen. Like, for example, whenever people talk about Jurassic World, if they're talking about it in a negative light on a YouTube video, I never hear them talk about like the 14-year wait. I never hear the side for Jurassic Park fans and why certain things are tailored in that movie to cater to the fans who have been waiting for so long. Or like when they say that the film like leans on nostalgia too much, and it's like, but does it? Because it's like we don't have Alan Grant, we don't have Malcolm, we don't have any of the key characters back. You know, it's starting completely fresh, and you go to the visitor center for a tiny little moment of like, oh, remember that place, but then it's quickly moved on, and it's like, and the film kind of fucks with nostalgia, by having like the Indominus smash through the visitor center, and there's all this sort of stuff, and I never really hear. But my main point is like I never really hear people go into like the minutiae of anything really. Like, and I was bringing up Prometheus when we were talking off just before we went live. Like when I was watching, I've been watching over the past week the EFAP guys watching the DC Universe movies, and they watched Man of Steel, and there's a bit in that where like buildings are falling towards people and then they're running away, and then you hear them all joke about how like, you know, they're cut from the Prometheus school of running, and I hear this all the time, you know, the Prometheus school of running sideways or whatever, which is the joke is, yeah, it's a meme, yeah, it's definitely a meme. But at the same time, for me, and I don't know if I'm being a bit of a killjoy here, the meme only makes sense if it's based in truth. Like, that's what makes a joke is funny to me, if it's like actually based in some sort of truth.
No, I wholly disagree.
Tell me how I'm wrong, man. Tell me how I'm wrong, please.
I disagree in so much as truth is irrelevant to comedy, because I am a big follower of absurdism. And honestly, you're right there. Yeah, dive into the history of a couple of memes, and you're gonna find a fair few misnomers. But I see the point you're getting at, though. You appreciate it more.
Well, but here's the thing, right? The minutiae I'm gonna get to here is not that I would defend Prometheus by saying that they do run sideways. It's just shot badly to actually show that they do. That's not what I was going to get to, if that's where you assumed I was going to. Mine was, no one complained about Tim and Grant going down the tree in Jurassic Park straight when they could just go sideways. I've never heard anyone say the school of Jurassic Park's tree climbing. Like, and I guess the argument against that would be like Jurassic Park's a better movie, so like you don't clock onto that sort of stuff. But then that's me like trying to put words in their mouth. There's something
to be said about scale there too. You got the car. It's significantly smaller. It's an much more intimate scene, whereas the ship rolling is a fairly big feature of that film and that event.
Yes. And it's the climax, pretty much, of the movie.
Yeah, and what tempers my argument on the matter is I love a good natural disaster. It's my Godzilla, so to speak. I'm not a super huge Godzilla fan, for example. Where am I getting at with this? Okay. Watching people in natural disasters, in actual disasters, trying to get away from things that will kill them, they run straight. You'll run straight. It's the natural incursion to get straight is as fast as possible.
Yes.
And you don't always make the most strategic move. Like, go back and watch some 9/11 footage.
Yeah,
not everyone's making the right calls there.
No, and I mean, like, but this is my on Prometheus. This is where the miscommunication goes, because like these videos that I watch of the EFAP guys, like I enjoy them a lot. Like, they're really funny. I've seen Man of Steel. That's the only, that and Wonder Woman are the only DC movies I've seen. So I was watching it and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this movie. I remember this bit and all this sort of stuff. And it's funny for them to poke fun. And I got the Prometheus joke and it was funny. But at the same time, that sat with me and I was like, okay, so that's the meme going around. And I'm like, why? When it's not true, that's the thing that gets to me. And I know you're right in saying that, like, jokes don't have to be based in fact. Of course they don't. But at the same time, I'm like, but then for everyone who doesn't like Prometheus, that is true that they don't run sideways. When, if you watch the movie, they actually do turn. It's just that the ship turns as well, and it's not shot great. That's the problem. That's where I think the real issue lies. So it's like, I don't know. It's too late. It's like complaining about something that can never be fixed. It's like
that's an editor's note to the director in production, and you just wish you could have been there saying, just give me one big shot of it turning a little bit like this.
Yeah, because there's that. It's a forward-facing shot of Shaw and is it Vickers running, and then they turn, and the camera turns with them, and it almost looks like they faked the turn with editing because they realised what they were doing, and they're like, oh shit, we need to add a turn in here, because if not, people are going to complain that they're not returning, and then guess what everyone does? That's what it feels like. I need to rewatch the scene again, but I swear they're even running out of, like, they're under the shadow of the thing, and then they run into the light, like they're trying to actually avoid it. But
yeah, but that scene is very gray. So, deep fake technology is going to come around on this, because pretty soon you'll be able to go in and make minor edits to movies. Not just we've already got the John Hammond bot. Sooner or later, we're going to be able to just build our own Star Wars with whatever we want.
Hey, on that John Hammond bot note, I have a feeling that the Attenborough estate, I don't know if they're going to be happy with that. There's something about that. I feel like they might get in a bit of trouble with that, if I'm honest. As much as we all joked around with it, it's like,
because he's an icon that I think only Americans appreciate as Jurassic Park guy. Like,
in the UK, he's David Attenborough's brother. Like,
they've got a house and an estate and a name to manage.
Yeah, and so they didn't ask for permission to have their deceased family members' voice used. So I have a feeling if anyone from Trescom's watching this, you might want to lawyer up. I don't know. Just be careful out there. It's like,
Mikey C.J. Dean says he was confused by the end of Prometheus.
In what way, man?
Harrison McCarthy chimes in with and he was confused by the Deacon alien.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't confused by the Deacon alien. That was just like the accumulation of seeing the results of like what basically went down. It's like you're seeing the starting threads of the xenomorph that we would later come to know. But the thing is, I think why it's sat odd with people is like you want that to have some narrative purpose outside of just seeing it and going, "Ooh, there it is," and then it never crops up ever again. Like, I think people just wanted it to like have some sort of action sequence or a climax involving that thing. But so it might confuse people why you see it and then you never see it again.
I actually kind of liked the fact that it just pops up and disappears, if only because that's very Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft horror style. Like something just created out of your nightmares exists for one night exclusively to torture you. And Big Shark just jumps in with $2. Thank you, Big Shark 9000.
Cheers, dude.
You are a badass.
Yeah. You're, what is it, the bloody Hudson quote? Badass art. Can't remember what he says now.
Me and my army are absolute badasses. Go down and take care of it for you, Ripley. We got nukes, pulse lasers, tactical missiles. We got sharp sticks.
Oh man.
I think there's a little bit of weight of like grand storytelling I think everyone expected out of Ridley Scott. Like, oh, he is going to tell this super nuanced narrative, but yet it's still going to hit all of these voids in the alien lore that we want. And I don't think he set out to make that kind of movie.
Well, I would argue, just going off that like example of what you said people were expecting, I argue that's exactly what he did. Because the story of Prometheus and Alien Covenant together tell the story of David's triumph. And it's dark. Like, it's not a good... It's almost like... what's the story of Lucifer? Where he's like the hero of the story. And is it Paradise Lost?
Yeah, Paradise
Yeah,
Lost.
so and that's what Alien Covenant was originally going to be called, and I think that's obviously no mistake, because they even had the line like, "Would you rather serve in heaven or reign in hell?" kind of thing. It's like he's not being subtle about it, and the nuance comes from this is actually a story about the true alien, which is AI. Which some people might be like, oh, but that ruins the monster kind of thing. It's like, no, that makes for, well, I mean, yes, if that's your preference, but for me it's like, no, because that means the alien is the product of the ultimate alien, which is the AI, and that to me is like, that's scary. Like, what would the AI want to make? And obviously everyone totes the alien as being the ultimate horror monster and so iconic, and it's like, okay, well, this sort of, for me, cements it as being the iconic monster because it's what the perfect AI decided to design. And that's like, I don't know, that just seems to have really sold me on the aliens. Yeah, it is the perfect organism. It's horrible. It's disgusting.
You posited a really fun idea a long time ago that I love. The reign in hell or serve in heaven line being a mind virus, going off of what happened to Ash in the novelization. That is just as scary as the damn alien, man.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like whenever people talk about like, oh, we knew David was gonna switch with Walter, and I'm like, are you sure about that? Like, are you sure about that? I need John Cena to come out. Like, I see that, and there's so many things to hint that that's actually Walter's body, but David's mind somehow. And I obviously it sounds really stupid saying it out loud because I'm trying to like quantify it in real time and going off memories of the movies. But there's so many things like, how did David know the security code to go into the back where all the people are being housed? Walter can fix himself, so why was he, in air quotes again, like Walter, fixing himself with staples in the room? And David's voice was all messed up after getting his face smashed in with a rock, so why was Walter's voice back to normal? Like, why was technically David's voice back to normal? Things like that, I'm like, it just seems like it's Walter. It's just like, they messed up.
The idea fits better, and I'm kind of surprised that not just Ridley Scott, but none of the other Alien movies ever touched on how screwy the androids can really get. Because Blade Runner is part of the Alien universe, isn't it?
Some people consider it to be part of the Alien universe. I don't personally, but they did have, like, on the Prometheus Blu-ray, you can read an email from Tyrell talking to Wayland. They're like competing. And
but the Martian is definitely Alien.
Oh, what, Ridley Scott's Martian?
Yeah.
I personally consider that canon with the Alien universe as like a prequel that has it's like Twister to Jurassic to me. It's like, I know it's not meant to be canon, but it fits so well. And I just kind of like the idea of like learning a story about like humans first exploration into space. It has nothing to do with aliens. It's all about like just, surviving on Mars. And because he managed to do that for so long, like that's, they terraform Mars first in the Alien universe, which is what we see in Prometheus. But no, just going back to the whole like serve in heaven, reign in hell thing. It's because David, the story that Ridley Scott was crafting for me is more nuanced than people give it credit for. People wanted aliens, right? They wanted something to do with the aliens, but to me, like, these films did deal with that solely. It's like, we're going to learn the origins of the aliens, okay, but we're not going to learn it in a way that's like, oh, here's where they come from. It's more like, here's where they were fucked from, essentially. It's like they were born through a myriad of engineered technology, so they already exist before David. Like, they've already been toyed with before David. They've been out there for a long time, so that storyline hasn't been ruined. Like, the aliens have been around for a long time. But it took David to come along and think he's doing something original to end up creating the xenomorph that we know and love. However, there's still in question whether he actually did create that from scratch, because there's evidence in Prometheus to suggest that they'd already made those type of aliens, because they've done experiments for God knows how many years. And there's the line from Walter to David where he's like, David's quoting Byron to him, and he's like, look upon my works, ye mighty in despair. And he's like, who said that? And he's like, Byron. And then Walter shakes his head and says, Shelley. And David, like, that's when he tries to kill Walter. It's like he sees himself as perfect, but he's not. He's flawed, and that's the idea. He's AI. Like, if he's genuinely sentient, he's free to make mistakes, and that's what he fears the most. And I feel like that's the alien is his biggest mistake, because he thinks he made it first, but he didn't. That's like he's just plagiarizing, and he doesn't even realize it.
The novel in Cold Forge touches on this, that the black goo, when it encounters organic material, because the novel takes great pains to go into the anatomy of a facehugger, and I know there's a bunch of conflicting lore on this, but I like the way this book particularly touched on it, is that what the facehugger essentially injects you with is more black goo, just a specific version of it, that there's no egg implanted, that it's on a microbiological level that your body begins producing the xenomorph. Jurassic Hero does ask, what about the history of the Yautjas? Which...
that's the Predators, right?
Yeah.
I never really call them that, so I'm like...
I don't like that name, and just to put a pin in what Jurassic Hero said, Ridley Scott has already openly said combining Alien and Predator was a mistake.
Yeah, they're not canon. They're not canon at all. Like, there's the separate canon to the Alien films, which is the AVP movies and the comic books and all that sort of stuff, but they're not actually canon with the Alien movies.
And that's kind of sad to me, because I would be really, really down for Ridley Scott's take on a Predator.
Oh, me too, but I think he'd have to start again. Like, it'd have to be like a fresh thing. But then again, I don't think Ridley Scott... Ridley Scott doing a medieval movie with a Predator. Oh my god. Give me that.
There is a radio show that I will link called the Canceled Movie Podcast that dives into the canceled War in Heaven, Paradise Lost movie. And I believe Ridley Scott was heavily attached to that project. And it might be a nice little look into a what if because it's very much dealing with that sort of time frame too. Well, at least those themes. I will post the link.
Yeah, sounds good. Big Shark asks, "Hey Jack, what are your thoughts on Alien Fire Team?" I don't even know what that is. Is that new game?
Yes. It actually looks, in short, it's Left 4 Dead meets Alien.
Yeah.
And what everyone expected Colonial Marines to be. And
yeah, a little bit too late, in my opinion.
From everything I've seen, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks like there's nothing to complain about, except for the fact that, like, for me, I'm just a bit bored of alien shooters, really. Like, I feel like there's... As much as I complained when I did my live streams of Alien Isolation about the amount of fetch quests and the amount of doors that you have to open, the same bloody doors all the bloody time, like, as much as that, I appreciated the story a lot, and I also really liked the idea of the gameplay and the environment and stuff you're in. I want something a little bit more like that, but like maybe some more interesting puzzles rather than the same doors that you have to just open over and over again. But the Alien shooters,
that one.
Alien Isolation is worth playing, man. It's really good. It's the best Alien game ever made, hands down. There's absolutely no doubt about that, because they just perfectly captured the atmosphere of the first and actually no, the first three movies. I would say they all have moments where you feel like you're in one. Well, especially the first film more than any others, but there are moments where you feel like you're on. You're on Fury 161, or you're with the Marines down in the Hive. Like, there's all that sort of stuff.
I've watched an edited together Let's Play movie of it, and I gotta say, I'm down for more Amanda Ripley stories.
Yeah.
They handled her very well in that game, at least as far as her characterization and trying to build a world around her. Really, I mean, all they had to do was just recreate the mood of the first and second film, which they did, obviously.
Yeah. But the Amanda Ripley, I know they made like comic book sequels and stuff. It's like, but I just can't be bothered with that. Like, give me a game sequel, because if she's born in a game, she should reign in the games rather than serve in comic books.
There will be a companion novel for this game called Alien Infiltrator, which drops on all days 4/20.
Nice. Wait, so is this the first game released by Disney, like under Disney's Alien? Are they like claiming this, or was this in development before? Yeah, that's what I want to know.
I would figure it's at least approved by Disney. I will do a bit more digging. Give me a moment.
Mario says David having an existential crisis after learning he didn't actually create the alien would be a great character arc, an end to the prequel's finale. Exactly, that's all I want to see. Like, I know then we're never going to get it now, but it's like just that idea of him, you know, having this hive that he's created. He's like, he's made the queen alien and all this sort of stuff. And then he learns. Oh, it is through Disney. Okay.
Yeah, Cold Iron Studios in collaboration with Disney's 20th Century Games. I did not mean to interrupt. Continue.
No, you're right. 20th Century Games. For God's sake, Disney. You should just left the fox in there. Such a weak move. But anyway, yeah, like, I just want to see that moment where David is like reigning in hell, as he would put it, with his xenomorph. I wouldn't say I don't want to see him with a xenomorph army, because that's so stupid. But like, he's flying around infecting planets with the xenomorph, or maybe they catch up with him as he's about to infect. Or he's changed Origai 6 into his perfect hell, where he's like living.
And that's where I think Ridley should cut to the engineer planet, and the king engineer looks to the queen engineer and says, "Call the predators." No. Oh God, no. But like, just the idea of like him learning through the engineers, like maybe they take him and they show him that he's not the first to make these things. Just that idea of that revelation in his character. And I know Michael Fassbender would do such a kick-ass job of doing that. I am expecting a glorious downfall, because there's so many. Well, the name friggin' Prometheus. There's so many Greek tragedy elements going on here, that the hell that David is setting up for himself, I think, is monumental. He might go in a different direction with it, obviously.
Well, that's if he makes it. This is the annoying thing. Like, we're all talking speculative here because Disney bought Fox and Ridley Scott is now working on the Alien TV series. I'm just hoping that means he is still working on he's still planning to release his movie. But the guy is super old, and he's got like another film or another 2 in his bank before anything, and I just don't see it happening. And I'm just like, But then again, I did say, I think it was on the last stream, that I am happy if we end with Covenant with David's story as well, because the idea of him just going off into space with all that stuff and we never find out what happens to him, that's kind of creepy. It's like, where did he go? What happened to him? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, but Ridley fought back against having created something and then let other people finish it. And that's kind of why he shot into these movies, isn't it? And now he's going to set up this really great character that I guarantee you, after he dies, if he doesn't finish his story, someone else will. Whether they have more or less talent is yet to be seen.
Yeah. And again, it's like, obviously the real life aspect of it is if Michael Fassbender even wants to do it. It's like, because he's the key. Like, you can kill off all the other characters just like they did with Elizabeth Shaw in Covenant. and that doesn't really affect because the story's about David more than these other characters, which is what I love, because the Alien films to me are Ripley's story. It wasn't at the beginning until she turned out to be the victor of Alien, and then Aliens and Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, it's all about Ripley, really. She's the focus. Whereas you notice all the protagonists in the Prometheus and Covenant, they're expendable. It's David who is the focus. He's like, it's almost like the Star Wars prequels in a way. It's like Darth Vader's the focus kind of thing. Like they're about him, and whereas Luke is the focus in the films that follow. It's kind of like that. It's like David is the anti-Ripley. He wants to send the aliens to Earth and mess up the whole universe by his own hand and by his design. He wants to destroy, or not even destroy everything. He wants to build things in the way he wants.
And that's why there should be an epic three-way fight between him, Predator, and Ripley 8.
Oh, God. Could you imagine? I could imagine that under Disney. You know, that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there. Oh, God. Yeah, I can just see it now. Because Sigourney Weaver's definitely, like, in Disney's shoes, because she does, like, Pixar movies and stuff. So it's like, she's definitely in that bubble. So I could very easily imagine her going to Disney and be like, bring Ripley back.
I gotta be cards on the table right now. I am a huge Alien Resurrection apologist. I love it almost as much as I love the other movies.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever butters your bread. But the thing is, like, I like Alien Resurrection. I just don't like it as an Alien movie. I'm just like, it doesn't gel with the other movies in terms of its tone of seriousness. It just goes completely out the window. And I don't like the notion, like, when you watch Alien, knowing that character Ripley you see is going to end up being a superhero just sits weird with me. So I'm like, okay, in my own head canon it ends with Alien 3, but I do appreciate Alien Resurrection and I can have a really good time with that movie. I just don't really consider it an Alien movie. But
Jurassic Heroes says, hey Jack, people complain that Alien Covenant's planet has a lethal biosphere that would infect the same way as the Martians from War of the Worlds. Is it true that it's an alien planet, or is it already terraformed by humans?
It's terraformed by the engineers, and the engineers are human. Well, we're engineers, essentially, right? So that's why they can take their helmets off in the pyramid in Prometheus. It's because it's the same atmosphere. Ba-bam. There you go. There's your answer. It's tailored by the engineers for a living. So
you're right that the tone is off. And that's because it was primarily architected by a Frenchman.
Yes, a Frenchman trying to make an American movie.
That being said, the atmosphere in that film, all the little world building, all the sets, all the details, those are really, really alien to me. And that's what keeps pulling me back to it. The melting cube of whiskey.
That I like the melting cube of whiskey. That I like. That's my favourite scene in the movie, is that short exchange over the table between the captain of the Betty and the captain of the Aurora. I like that bit.
Pull the dialogue out of the first 30 minutes of that movie, and I think you've got a contender for one of the better Alien films.
Really?
Yeah, because
even with the breathing on the doors locks.
Even I don't care. I love it.
But the thing, have you heard my commentary with the other guys when we watched that movie?
I just listened to it the other day.
Oh, there you go. You'll get all my thoughts in there. You can hear how animated I get watching
questions.
that.
How do they synthesize that, or who's going into General Perez's office and like siphoning off his breath?
They don't answer that with her. She has a keychain. They never explain how she did it. It's just, is it perfume? Is it his breath? Like, we don't know. But it seems like a scene is missing. That's what it feels like.
That's not a flaw of the movie to me. That in and of itself, like that little detail, it just raises so many questions. Just like we were talking about with Covenant and Prometheus a few minutes ago. There's so many little things that make you go, is he Walter? Did they siphon his breath off in his sleep?
Yeah. Well, I just find the idea of locked doors through breath, it seems so... For a science vessel, I say this in the commentary, for a science vessel, that seems really like I don't know. They could mess with some experiments if you're breathing on the walls if you're on this ship. But then I don't know. It's something like that. And
it's a military vessel, Jack.
It is, but at the same time, it's meant. You'd think they'd have, if they were going to do this experimentation, they would have at least kitted it out with some more sterile environments rather than just these horribly dark corridors and no lights. Where it kind of makes sense in the other films why the ships look. I mean, when the Sulaco boots up, it's dark when they're sleeping, but when it boots up, all the lights are on and everything. It's lit up. But in this, it should be a science vessel. I thought it would be kind of interesting if they'd have gone the design of you have the military science vessel, and it's so sterile, it's almost sickening to look at. Such white walls and everything. You're just looking at this is horrible to look at aesthetically. But then when the alien comes in, it's such a stark contrast because it would look so anti-science. It shouldn't be there, kind of thing. But I don't know. That's just the way I would personally design it. I'd be like, okay, let's do that. But yeah, I don't know.
Massier's on my side. Only cowards don't consider Alien 4 canon.
That's alright. I'm scared of bad movies. That's fine. I'll admit to that. I'll admit to that.
The birthing sequence is really unnecessary in that film. I will freely admit the flaws.
Which birthing sequence?
The newborn. That should have been Ripley 3 or something else entirely. That whole birthing sequence.
See, that would have been horrible.
Oh, yeah. You don't?
No, I meant that would have been horrible in a good way if it was another Ripley clone giving birth to it.
Yeah, because
and it would up the stakes as well because that newborn would be a queen. So it would be oh crap, this thing is a weird new type of queen alien.
And it would justify better it charging in and just killing the other queen.
Yeah, instead of you're not my mommy. It's basically what it's saying. I mean, yeah, it's just, I don't know.
There are too many good ideas in that movie to write it off completely.
No, I accept there's good ideas in it. I just don't consider it canon. It's just
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's I think the poignancy of Ripley's story ending. I mean, here you go. This is you might have heard me say this on other live streams or even other videos in the past. I don't know, but just say if you have, because I'll be going on a little bit of a tangent here. But for me, the Alien series, Alien is all about birth, right? It's sort of metaphorically and symbolically speaking, it's all about birth. First time we're birthed to the alien on screen for audiences. You have one of the most famous scene in the film is a birth sequence. You have there's a part in the ship called Mother, which is a womb-shaped room, and all you can hear in there is breathing, it's like being in a womb. And then
there are whole ASMR channels dedicated to recreating that atmosphere.
Exactly, that tells you everything, right? People just want to return to the womb. But the space jockey is in a womb-like room, and it's almost like a dead fetus, something that died and shouldn't have lived, and all this sort of stuff. You've got all this sort of symbology, right? And obviously we get introduced to Ripley as the character. She's through her turmoil is born into the pop culture sphere. Then Aliens for me is all about life, because we learn all about the alien's life cycle. We learn about Ripley's past, her family, and it's all about fighting for family. And you have the queen alien going up against Ripley, and it's all symbolically centered around the life, the living of life, essentially.
It's about family.
Exactly. Goddamn right. And then Alien 3, obviously, is all about death and forgiveness, letting go, redemption, all that sort of stuff. Finding God, or even if you don't even believe in God, it's doing the right thing thanklessly, all this sort of stuff, right? The macabreness of life, the nihilistic nature of life, and letting go, exactly. Now, the thing about resurrection is, I'll give it this: it does fit that name, because if you ever bring something back, it's never the same. That's you can never recreate something from the past perfectly as it was, because the minutiae of change will change everything about it. And that is what Resurrection proves. Wholeheartedly. So Ripley is resurrected. She's half alien. The aliens come back. They're not even exactly as they were. You know, they've got Ripley bits inside them. You know, the Queen's got a womb. Everything's different. The tone of the movie's different. Everything.
Did you notice that within the confines of Alien Resurrection as well? That the first act is the first alien, Ripley being born. The second act is aliens, Ripley fighting off hordes. And the third act is an absolute shit show, Alien 3.
No, I actually haven't gotten that.
And about letting go.
Yeah. Wait, when does the third act begin again? When are we talking about? Is it when Cole gets
Ripley,
shot?
When Ripley gets taken away by the tentacles.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
That, to me, begins the third act.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm seeing where you're going with this. But yes, I kind of partly agree with that. Now, Prometheus and Covenant threw a spanner in the works to this little notion that I had going on in my head, you know, with the Alien series being birth, life, death, and resurrection. Because Prometheus is about the search for the beginning, the origins. So it predates everything, predates birth. And I was like, okay, this is kind of fitting in with my model of things. But then Covenant comes along, and it's like, I don't know where it stands. Because is it still part of the origin story of... No, it's not of man. Because Prometheus it was all about the existential horror of learning where the human race comes from and how characters deal with that, and learning about this other life form that they've been working on and all this sort of stuff, and the loneliness of space and time. And it got very grand in its scale compared to Alien, where Aliens and Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, they're all quite claustrophobic movies, whereas Prometheus just opened the universe up. But it also, in my opinion, closed it even more and made space claustrophobic, because it really turned out we're made from the engineers, and the engineers made the aliens, so it's like it felt like it was only us in the universe.
I never felt claustrophobic during those movies. In fact, I felt quite the opposite.
That's interesting.
The shot with David and old Wayland in the first movie, that's so open and so sparse and so empty. And it's the same sort of mood, but it's void. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, visually, it's grand, right? It's big, it's opened the world up. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm agreeing with you there. Like, it's completely... It's like you've got sweeping shots of mountains and landscapes. Like, it's like, oh my god, this isn't the closed corridors anymore of Alien. But internally, the way it makes you feel, well, at least me, it made me feel like more claustrophobic, because it's like, oh god, the universe feels small now, because it's only us, the alien, David, and the engineers. There's no other outside aliens who are going to come save us, if we're not counting the Predators. It's like there's only us and the monsters that we have to deal with. The humans have to deal with the engineers who are trying to kill them, the aliens who are trying to kill them, and David who is trying to kill them.
Oh, and let's not forget each other.
And each other, exactly. So to me, to go into this whole birth, life, death scenario, it's like I don't know where Covenant sits. It's like I'm trying to find the word that describes I haven't watched it enough, I don't think, to pick up on these things, because, you know, it took me years to pick up on, like, the bloody mother being like a womb, or like the space jockey being like a dead fetus inside a womb, or I mean, Alien 3 bats you over the head with a death, so I got that pretty quick. But
shout out to Resurrection again for turning mother into father.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, I wonder what the reason for that was, other than being just the opposite.
It's just world building, and it's a little bit of world building I appreciate.
Yeah, it seems to be they're like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of the reason why they would change it, other than, it's just the opposite to Mother.
Jurassic Hero would like to know if you have checked out Pacific Rim Uprising and The Black.
I saw Pacific Rim Uprising, and it was the second most disappointing movie of 2018 for me, after The Predator. and I hated it. I know the Predator really, really sucked. And again, a movie with some great ideas, but just didn't. No. And I watched the first 15 minutes of episode 1 and the last 5 minutes of episode 7 of The Black today, and it's not my cup of tea. I'm not into it. I'm just like, nah, I don't care. When you got kids and teenagers driving the Jaegers, you lose me. You lose me.
Yeah, well, there's a formula. Are you a big Gundam fan?
No, I used to be when I was a kid. Yeah, I used to love Gundam Wing, actually. I had the action figures and everything.
Yeah, that was
teenagers driving the robots. I get that, but
Gundam Wing doesn't fit the mold because those characters are written like they're 35. That show is so dry. If you go back and watch it, it's just so dead and flat, and honestly, kind of a lot like episode 1. There are the trade unions. Here comes White Fang. What are mobile dolls?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't revisited it since my childhood, so I'd have to go back and check it out. But the whole Pacific Rim idea, like, why
they have left kaiju and entered kids and robots, which is a much more competitive, like, that concept has been done so right and so wrong. 18 ways from Sunday, and they're in the anime market, so they gotta show, man. Like,
I know they've got a lot to contend with. But that's why, like, but seeing kids drive the Jaegers, like when I watch Guillermo del Toro's first film, even though it's really over the top and ridiculous, you know, you got these robots fighting monsters in the city and all that sort of stuff, and they got like elbow rocket and all this sort of shit.
We're canceling the apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. There's still a weight to the robots, and there's still a level of destruction that really gives the robots and the monsters the feel that they are still insanely massive. Whereas in like Pacific Rim Uprising, and from what I saw in The Black, and I mean, I'm not going to really blame The Black because it's a cartoon, so like getting weight is a bit harder to do. So it
should be easier. As a veteran of all these mecha anime, you can add weight, and that really comes in on sound.
Maybe I'm not educated enough. Yeah, maybe I'm not educated enough then on the animation side to know that. But the Pacific Rim Uprising, oh my god, they had the robots running up to skyscrapers and fly kicking off them. So they'd like run, step on the side of a skyscraper, and jump off and kick a kaiju in the head. And I was sitting there thinking when I was watching that in cinema, in Pacific Rim 1, the robots touched a building and they basically just crumbled under the weight of these things, and now they're jumping off them? Like, what? Like,
it sounds like if it were its own thing, it wouldn't be weighed down by all this pre-expected lore. Because you can have an anime... Attack on Titan does that. They got giant people doing backflips and shit. And it works from everything I've seen. But now, not only have they entered a whole new genre, they're not even delivering on the same sort of things that the OG audience is really expecting. So who are they marketing the show for?
I don't really know. But the thing is, I checked out because I was like, okay, Big Shark says in the chat, I'm not much of a fan of mechs fighting monsters. I don't know why you're not. Like, come on, Big Shark, what are you doing? It's just monsters fighting robots. What's not to like? But at the same time...
Wait, aren't you the Jet Jaguar fan, Big Shark?
Oh, is he? Okay. Yeah. See, but that's the thing, it's like... Yeah, it might be someone else. But my point is, it's like... I can't remember my point now. I've completely forgot what I was saying. There's something about the genre. It's like there's for me personally, there's a taste to it that it's like a fine line, and that the fault lies with me on that. Like, I'm sold if there has to be something to it, and there's something to Guillermo del Toro's movie that really made me go, okay, I like this film. It's not the hardest film to follow. It's more of just style over substance, but there's just something about the world building he's created and the simplicity of it that I just love. And obviously the design and the acting and all that sort of stuff, I'm like, yeah, okay, I kind of like all this. And then, but everything else after it, I'm just like, no, it feels like I've seen this like a million times before, whereas I didn't get that sense with Pacific Rim, the first one at least.
Massier and Harrison are pointing out that one of the writers from Pacific Rim Uprising are currently working on Dominion as we speak.
Oh, well, that's fine. That doesn't, I don't know. I don't even know who. Well, wait. Yeah, I guess they may be like changing like little tidbits of Colin's writing for Dominion.
Yeah, writing is a team effort in Hollywood anymore.
So yeah, I don't know how involved they are. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like they could be involved by just literally crossing the T's and dotting the I's. It doesn't, it might not be that they're actually making fundamental changes. But hey, and then some people have written some garbage that and then turn around and wrote stuff that I really like. So I'm not going to just castigate the writers. Just
Jurassic Hero staying strong with the dissenting opinion, saying that the Black is great with new ideas and adds to the theme of family and unity. Well, I'm glad you appreciate that film. Or those.
Yeah. If you like it, I've got nothing against people liking it at all. You knock yourself out. I'm just, it's just not for me. As from what I saw. But then again, and this is what I say to my wife all the time, right? Think of this. You can watch a film one day and not like it, or a series. And it might be because you just didn't eat a sandwich. And then you come back to it after a good meal, and like maybe a few months later, you're like, I'll give it a second chance, and you've had a good meal. And then you go, yeah, I really like this. Because your mood is different. So you watch it differently. So who knows? Maybe I just didn't eat my sandwich. And maybe one day I'll come back to Pacific Rim the Black and I'll actually watch the whole series and go, yeah, that was pretty good. We never know. You never know.
Yeah, I'd be more forgiving if it wasn't just anime.
Yeah, and there's this particular like a new style of anime which is a little bit like leaves a lot to be desired. I like the 2D animation. This 3D anime is kind of a bit, I don't know if that's just me.
Massier wants to know if you played God of War.
Me? No. You guys should know this. Oh, I guess Massier hasn't been around as long as the others, but like I don't really play many video games.
And I play a lot of video games, but I don't play the ones I play the boring games like Hearts of Iron and Age of Empires, Grand Strategy kind of stuff.
Mountain Blade.
Oh, I should play that.
Yeah. Me and my friend sometimes, we played that more in the past, but God, we used to have some fun on that, just laughing our heads off, just riding into battle. So
if we had... Massier asks a good question. It's animation in the style of anime. It isn't anime. And that gets into the philosophical question of what exactly is anime, which I don't think either of us are equipped to really unwrap at this moment.
No. I'm a normie in that department because I'm like, anime just means Japanese animation. It's like, that's it. That's the extent of my answer there.
Yeah, I used to be a weeb, but I had to dip out of it. It was like it was my beta. I left the Catholic Church, then I left anime, then I left Star Wars. It's all kind of the same thing.
What you say? Oh, you're saying the same situation, or are you saying that Star Wars, the Catholic Church, and weebs are all the same?
They all get a little culty at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, not to throw everyone under the bus, but what fandom doesn't get a little bit culty at times? Drink the Kool-Aid, man. Drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, I'm just trying to see what people say. Dr. Tanny says Big Shark. Yeah, the thing is, like the new Godzilla anime trilogy was done in that style, and I didn't mind it for that, but that was because I don't know, there was just something about it I kind of liked. They got the scale and the weight of Godzilla completely right in that, by the way. That was ridiculously good. Regardless of what you think about the series, I think one thing everyone can agree on is that when that massive Godzilla came out at the end, it was like, oh my holy god, he's huge. Like, I actually felt it, especially when he used his atomic breath as well, or his atomic sound wave, or whatever it was that he used.
And that goes to show that a well-executed animation can really deliver on that weight and that scale when
I'll take that back, because but the Pacific Rim, the Black, I don't think they got it. Like, they don't feel as weighty as I feel like they should be. But yeah, then again, I don't know.
I would actually suggest that would be a good show for you to watch with Clayton.
Yes, maybe. We've got to finish Primal yet. So I've got one more edit. I sent Clayton episode 4's edit to upload. I don't know when he's going to do it. But we watched up to episode 5 and we haven't recorded any more after that, so I have to get finished Primal with him. Episode 4's a fun one, so whenever he releases that, everyone will have a laugh with that, because that's the one where Clayton, he just completely does a U-turn. It's so funny to witness.
I'm just trying to get caught up on chat. I don't want to leave them behind.
Yeah. I can't remember if I did say thank you, Big Shark, so I'm going to say again, but thank you for the $2 tip. I can't remember if I did say thank you, because I know Al mentioned it, and I can't remember what I said, so I just want to cover my bases there and not seem rude if I'd forgotten to say thank you, so cheers, my man. Yeah, I like...
What's Star Wars?
Yeah, what is that? We don't talk about Star Wars here. That's a cursed name. Cursed by its own fans, the filmmakers, and the company that owns it. The only place that Star Wars isn't corrupt is in the mind of old George. It's like poetry. Rhymes.
So do you have any interest in any of the... Because...
By the way, you can talk about Star Wars. I'm joking when I say that, by the way. Of course we can talk about Star Wars.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to stipulate.
I will shit on it, though.
Anyway, sorry, what were you saying? Do you have any
interest in the new glut of Alien books that Disney seems to be greenlighting across Amazon?
Nope.
And honestly, the trilogy that they've already put out comes free with Audible, not to plug it, because we're not getting paid.
No. And not because I think it's bad or anything. It's one, I just don't have the time. So I'm not interested because I don't have the time to sit down and soak all this in, unless I got like an Audible account and then when I'm at work listen to it. But I don't like listening to fiction when I'm at work, so that kind of rules that all out. Like if I'm at work, I'm listening to like sort of podcasts about culture and politics and God knows what else. So rather than pop culture. Oh, well, I'll dive into pop culture, but it's not like listening to the pop culture itself. I'll listen to people's thoughts on it and stuff, and the debates around it and stuff like that.
Oh, did you finish Rules for Life?
Rules for Life?
The Jordan Peterson book.
No, I haven't even started it yet. I have listened to his lectures where he talked about that, but basically I've got a pile of books, and once I finish Dino-Defenders, I said this the other day, I believe it was to my wife, I was saying how like my next project after Dino-Defenders is reading. Like I just want to read a ton, and then when I come on live streams to like play video games and stuff, I'll have so much more to talk about. And or any other time I come online, I'll have more things to say. But yeah, I haven't read 12 Rules for Life. I'm still like on Mere Christianity at the moment by C.S. Lewis. And I'll be honest, I haven't moved an inch since I last said that. So I have to reread some of the chapters I've already read because I'm kind of forgetting what I've read. But that's because I've just got so much going on. It's like hard to just sit down and actually concentrate on it. But yeah, I will get to it.
I've been in a similar rut. If only I haven't gotten into anything new very recently. I just started listening to Jurassic Park over again.
Are you doing it for the Jurassic Park podcasts thing?
No.
Okay.
I did see that after it had already kicked off, and I kind of feel bad, but the book clearly states that Ian Malcolm knew exactly what Hammond was going to do before the investors did. In fact, Ian Malcolm was one of the first people to even look at the draft for the island. So he was involved way, way earlier than anyone.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a rabbit hole there.
There is, yeah. It's just got my mind racing. It's like, so he knew about it, and then he comes to the island, and then just basically shits on everything about it.
Yeah, like Gennaro, the guy who had to pitch these ideas to all these Japanese investors, had no idea. In fact, through the whole tour, it is Gennaro who Malcolm is pontificating to. It's like, wait, what the hell are you talking about, chaos theory? It's like, yeah, it's so blatant I didn't even model it. This place is going to go up in smoke. Every single subsystem that you could possibly attempt to lay out will fail. And it's interspersed with all the other things going on, the counting, figuring out that that the dinosaurs are breeding.
It's all destined to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, the films do that angle differently to the book. The book is like, it's a house of cards and everything is going to fail. Whereas in the film, it's like a very specific thing that makes the park fail, which is kind of interesting. It's like the park fails because Nedry is underpaid and then he sabotages it. That's it. If he didn't do that, the park would probably work.
Well, by Malcolm's definition, the island failed.
Oh, yeah,
the
because
moment a compy got off. Like, that was already a failure state in his model.
Oh yeah, and obviously that would play in, if we go into the later movies, that obviously plays a part because the island is destined to fail because of the volcano.
Which they bring up in the tour on the book, that they watch volcanic gases escape just before they encounter the stegosaur.
God, it's so cool. At the same time, it's like people will say, like, why do they build on a volcanic island? It's like they do that all the time in real life. It's free real estate. It's like, it's not
free geothermal energy.
Yeah,
Ask Iceland.
Exactly. And it's like, well, it's cheap. It's cheap energy. It's cheap land, essentially. And initially, and then you have places like Hawaii where there are like whole cities built on the sides of volcanoes. It's just like, okay, good luck, guys. Good luck. Yeah, no, I need to reread the book. I think I need to reread The Lost World because I only read that. I've read that twice, I think, in my life. And it stuck with me. I remember vast quantities of it, but at the same time, there's like... that's updated because I'm constantly talking about Jurassic, so I constantly am updating my knowledge of these books. So it's like, that's what's kind of put me off reading them. Actually, no, tell a lie. I've read them twice, read Lost World twice, but I've listened to the audiobook once. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's like, it's still kind of fresh in my mind, but I do want to go back and actually read it rather than listen to the audiobook.
When I use the 2 audiobooks more or less to fill space when I can't find anything interesting to watch. The Lost World, it doesn't quite hold up as well.
The book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think the movie excels where Crichton more or less wrote himself back into the same hole. The movie introduces a bunch of new ideas that are really cogent to the themes going on set out in the first book. And
yeah, I agree with you with that, by the way.
The thing is, like, there's so much of the first act of The Lost World where Malcolm really seems dense. Like, I wonder why there are these aberrant forms popping up. What do you think, Dr. Levine? I don't know. I got this weird computer from InGen. I wonder what it means. And then the Sarah stands out in that book. Sarah's the real hero of the Lost World.
Yeah. She's much better in the book than she is in the film.
Yeah, she gets the glory of actually killing Dotson.
Yeah. Well, yeah, after he tries to kill her. But like in the film, even just from a consistency standpoint, in the film she's not very consistent, and you can tell because there's scenes from the script that are like missing, and whether they shot them we don't know, but there's things in the script that actually make her character good and really good, and if they'd have kept that, she might have been better in the film than in the book. But they didn't. They cut their stuff out, so now she's like complaining about the T-Rex's scent being so good, but then she's like forgetting that she's got the T-Rex's blood on her and all this sort of stuff. And
for being very explainy, she's a little.
She's like, we got to observe and document, not interact, and then she's touching a baby Stegosaurus. It's like, come on, Sarah, live by your own rules. Stop contradicting.
Is it still behind us?
Yeah. It's not. She's not. I like Julianne Moore's performance, and I like her character to some extent. And I used to say that she was my favourite female character in the series when I was younger, but as I got older, I was like, nah, she's she's not consistent. But yeah,
I agree with you, Harrison. Aberrant Forms is a really good chapter because that's also if it's the same chapter I'm thinking of, that's also where Arby and Kelly kind of get built up, and you get a little bit of this mystery going on. I believe that is when Malcolm's office gets raided, but at the same time, Malcolm should have been all over. This is freaking InGen. This has got InGen all over it. We got to find this other island, Dr. Levine. He should have been more upfront with. Okay, a Malcolm in that situation doesn't care about an NDA unless he really is a clone and he doesn't have those memories.
Yeah. Oh man, I do hope that they really utilize some of the aspects of the books that they haven't in the movie so far going forward. I really do hope. There's a lot to mine there that they could use. But we'll have to wait and see what they do.
They already have, to a large extent. Lockwood being Atherton. And they did... I think they poured just one too many cool features into the Indominus line.
Yeah.
Like, a little bit more spread out, I would have appreciated. But that's a nitpick. Like, I could spend all day nitpicking any... Well... This is the era of internet reviewers everywhere, so we could spend all day nitpicking any detail we really want.
Yeah. What is your favorite movie, man?
I mean, Jurassic Park is kind of up there.
The reason I ask this is because I'm going through a bit of a I'm doing some mental gymnastics because I'm making this video, or I've got it planned. I'm writing it out now. But like, I've got this plan for a video where I want to list my top 20 movies, and I don't usually like to do lists of top 10s of like movies because I'm like, there's so many different movies out there. How can you compare them and how can you catalog them? So I'm already annoying myself because I'm trying to put them into a list, but there's gonna be the caveat of this list is not actually in order of which one I think is best. It's just if I had to have 20 films that I would say are my personal favourites, here's the 20. And there's also the caveat of it's not going to contain Jurassic, Alien, any Godzilla movies, any King Kong movies, or anything like that. Well, I mean, not anything like that, because there are films on there that would be considered the same sort of genre, but not the ones I usually talk about or that I've made like videos on. So the reason I'm bringing this up is Jurassic Park, I've always said, is my favourite movie. But when I've been making this list, I've realised that my relationship to Jurassic has changed over the years. And I don't view that movie with the same favourite wide-eyed kid sort of audience. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't view it like the audience that I used I'm not playing the role of the audience I used to when I watched Jurassic Park. So I don't know if I can consider it my favourite film anymore. But it's got a different category of favourite. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we have personal relationships with movies, because when I think about Jurassic Park, I don't just think about Jurassic Park. I think about my dad and my mom and going to see it that summer, and I got to see it at the drive-in. That was freaking amazing. That's a childhood memory that I'm never truly gonna divorce from that movie, even though I sit there and go, well, the book did this part better, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. It's hard to quantify what I'm...
Maybe, how about this? Rather than making a big list of 20, maybe make 4 lists of 5, right? You got horror, sci-fi, general, and then leave a personal category for yourself.
I've got my category right here. I'm just going to see, because many of these blend over into different genres. That's what's difficult. The reason I was picking 20 is because I couldn't just do 10. But I don't know. Should I spoil the list? No.
No. Do the save it for your video. Save it for your video.
It's hard to quantify what I mean by these. These are like my top 20 movies that I would take to a desert island if I couldn't take anything else movie wise. But then why I'm bringing up what's your favorite movie and all that sort of stuff is because there's some movies on this list that I'm like, damn, when I watch these movies I have that feeling I had when I was a kid watching Jurassic Park. I still get that kick of this movie's so freaking awesome. Whereas Jurassic is different. I don't really get I get that feeling of this movie is awesome, but it's different. It's because it comes with all this other baggage that...
Well, yeah, you've got a much different relationship than the average fan. You've actually
that's
gotten
what I mean.
A check from this movie.
Yeah,
it's impacted your life.
That's what I mean. It's changed for me. So it's it's different, and it's hard to put into words how that actually feels, because it feels you've had this best friend at school for years, and you get on so well, and then when you're in your 20s, you find out that you're actually brothers, and you're like, oh shit, this changes everything. But that's you love them. Weird. You love them for different reasons. Now I'm being told I have to love you like a brother rather than a friend. But you are my friend. So it's kind of like that kind of dynamic.
Yeah, but you're still drawn to all the stuff around Jurassic Park as well, like Crichton himself.
But
had to have been your door to that guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good God. Yes, Crichton is definitely a love of mine. I outside. That's one of the collections that I've got. I've nearly got every single one of his books, except for his John Lang stuff. But but what I'm trying to say is things like Camp Cretaceous and everything. I'm getting divorced from it all because I'm not. It's different. It's I'm not viewing this the same as what I would have done had Camp Cretaceous come out in 2014, let's say, just before Jurassic World. Let's say that came out, I'd have been all over it. But I'm not. It doesn't have that same feeling to me. Even the first film. So it's I don't know. This list is changing things, or at least I don't know. I'm questioning myself more, and I don't know if I'm just overthinking, and it's just a load of crap I'm spewing because it's
No. It's fair to consider because you've devoted a lot of time and a lot of emotion to it. So naturally, it's going to. And now you're a father. Where's your opinion on this movie going to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
I think you can set a landmark right now and then look back in a couple of years going, oh, you've got Dino-Defenders created whatever form or state it takes, and the world franchise at that point will be finished, and now you'll be able to look back on it retrospectively and what you put into it for that little moment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the moment of just hanging up my hat my metaphorical hat and being like, right, I want to step back and just let it be. But I don't know if that'll ever happen. That's the thing. But anyway, this like list of top 20 movies, it's making me realise that like I get a kick out of some movies that I haven't watched in a while, but they are the ones that I have such fond memories of. But they, I don't know, they're ones I consider my favourites, and I obviously, for obvious reasons, I experienced them different than Jurassic. But it made me go, well, what is my favourite movie? Because is it Jurassic? Because I don't watch Jurassic Park that often. Like, I used to watch it all the bloody time, but now I'm like, barely put it on. Unless my like nephew wants to watch it, and then we watch it. But he's a Jurassic World fan, so it's like he loves that, so he'll want to watch that. Although he does love Jurassic Park, but I think he just wants to get to the action sooner.
Now, your opinion on Jurassic Park has changed. Where is your opinion on Jurassic World as it relates to Jurassic Park and all that? Like
Jurassic World to me is
the same problem with Jurassic World. Are you finding it less rewatchable?
No, because I watched it as an adult, so it's like it's still the same. I'm quite similar to how I was when that came out. So and I didn't view that as a wide-eyed child watching it when I was like 4. How I experienced Jurassic Park with all the naivety I had watching that movie didn't know about the world, all this sort of stuff. Like, I think that really plays a part in it. Whereas when I watch Jurassic World, I'm more cynical. I'm more like, ugh, I know what the world's like, and I sort of take it as it is. And then I've sort of gone back and looked at Jurassic Park and with more adult look and gone, yeah, maybe a lot of the stuff I was clouded by the fact that I was a kid and I didn't realise. But then, so Jurassic World hasn't really changed for me. I still would really enjoy the film, but I also know what it is. Does that make sense? Whereas like Jurassic Park over the years, I've discovered more what it actually was compared to how I thought what I thought it was as a kid. So, especially The Lost World. My God, The Lost World has definitely gone through that for me. I used to say it was like really like an amazing masterpiece. No, it's not. It's full of flaws. Like, what the hell was I saying? Like, but yeah, the relationship's different to Jurassic World than the older films because, yeah, like I said, I've grown up with them as an adult, viewing them with a completely different outlook on the world entirely. So, and not to mention my relationship to the films because I've helped market them. That's like a whole different aspect of it. But I'm just talking like purely the films themselves. It is different, but the attachment to them is more like I appreciate them because of, I don't know, if I had to just describe Jurassic World in a very, and not counting Fallen Kingdom here because it sort of falls under the same description of what I'm about to say, but it's a kick-ass Jurassic Park 4 is the way I would describe it. And I remember, and I'm coming from the generation, and you might, I don't know how old you are, but you might be able to relate to this. But like I remember back
35 this year.
Okay, yeah, I'm 32, so we're from the same generation. So like, I remember when I was younger, sequels were made fun of a lot. Everyone used to joke about, oh, there's going to be a Jaws 19. That's why there's that joke in Back to the Future 2. Like, no one took sequels seriously. And so when someone was to say, oh, what do you think Jurassic Park 4 will be like? People would be like, oh, it'd be crap. Because it would be like a straight to DVD, not a good movie. But the movie we actually got, that's technically the Jurassic Park 4, had all the money thrown at it and was this insane success and was like, it's not the greatest movie ever made, it's not the most complicated movie ever made or anything like that, but it's freaking pretty competent at what it does. So for the fourth movie in a franchise, I view it like that. I'm like, this is Jurassic Park 4, this should be shit, why is it not? But then the nature of sequels has changed. People like sequels now, and people do take sequels very seriously. I mean, bloody hell, look at the MCU. I mean, if they numbered those movies, what number are we on now? Like Marvel film number 32 or something? It's like just ridiculous. But yeah,
sequelization isn't totally new to Hollywood, especially for like low rent films. You go back and Godzilla is actually kind of a prime example of this. They cranked those movies out, but that's a different market.
And that's definitely quantity over quality for the most part. Like, in all honesty,
I guess the only thing you want to really start comparing it to would be, especially for older films, be like a lot of the Universal monster movies, because they just ran those.
Yep, same thing.
Around.
Yep. That's what I mean. I remember coming from that generation where when people talked about sequels, they talked about them as like almost quasi jokey. They were like, this, don't take it too seriously. We're talking about like, Friday the 13th is a good example. Oh, how many bloody Friday the 13th films are there going to be?
Alien in that era, Alien Resurrection's been a joke for a long time, but Alien 3, I think only now people are really coming around and starting to like really defend it and appreciate it as to where it is. Maybe not forgive it of all of its sins, but at least look at it and say this isn't the piece of crap we thought it was.
Yeah,
it's not Tremors 4.
Tremors is a great example. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like where Tremors is now with what it's doing, and I haven't seen anything past Tremors 4, but I know they've made like 2 or 3 movies after. Right?
It's sad. The most recent one is where Burt Gummer hangs up his hat, and it's the last one, and it's another bad one.
Okay, yeah. See, Burt Gummer should have hung his hat up after number 2, but it's like my point is that's how
I liked Back to Perfection. That's
the prequel one, right?
Story,
okay. Yeah, I actually have that one on DVD. I think I've got 1, 2, and 4 on DVD.
The series was kind of fun too. I remember when that popped up on Sci-Fi back in the day, but a lot of those movies, especially the ones with Jamie Kennedy, oh man, they're so lazy.
But that's what I mean. Like, coming from that generation of like, that's what people viewed sequels like. That back in the 80s. And even, I guess, the 70s. Obviously, I wasn't alive then, but I knew in the 90s they were even still joking about how, like, sequels to movies... Again, that's why that joke in Back to the Future 2, where it says Jaws 19, that's why it says that. Like, 19 isn't chosen randomly. It's chosen because it's meant to signify that they've just kept going, and it's just, how many bloody sequels to Jaws they're going to be, and all this sort of stuff. Whereas kids today watch sequels and they take them really seriously, and not just kids, but like audiences in general. They don't really care about sequels, if anything. Actually, they just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a good example. No one cares that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is actually number God knows what number in a series of movies. They just want a decent movie. Whereas, so when I look at Jurassic World, my relationship to it is that's a decent Jurassic Park 4. And I never thought I would ever see that, because I remember being so disappointed by Jurassic Park 3, and Jurassic Park 3 for me was like the telltale signs of the fear of the Jurassic Park franchise falling into that jokey category of the sequels, just getting really bad. And I saw it happening. I was like, oh no, it's happening. And then they stopped. And so when Jurassic World finally came out, I was like, hey, they actually took their time and waited, and that's the way I view it now, and that's how I viewed it back when it came out. So that's not really changed. It probably won't for a while, unless like something weird happens. I can't predict what's going to happen. But like my relationship to Jurassic Park has definitely changed, because I viewed it when I was 4 years old for the first time, and I grew up with it, and then eventually worked on the franchise, and it's very different. It's very different. And my mind is just racing. Making this list has definitely made me go, why do I find these movies I'm listing more... like, I'm drawn to them more than Jurassic Park, but it might just be because I haven't watched them as much. I don't know what it is. It's difficult to...
Bear in mind, like, Jurassic Park probably kicked open a few doors for your tastes at the beginning when you saw it that young. So it could be that you like a lot of these other movies because of what Jurassic Park did. You can look at it now and see its flaws, but in terms of delivering on storytelling, it gave you the expectation. It gave you a bar. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense. Cheers for like listening to all this, because it's like I'm bouncing this thought that's been in my head for like the last few weeks. I'm just trying to like.
It's not like I haven't been listening to you once a week for the last year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, you've never been here before, Al. No one knows who you are, Dr. Tanystropheus. So come on.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Like
You're
CIA running.
Yeah. Who's missing in the chat, guys? But yeah, it's just strange to wrap my head around. You're completely right about Jurassic Park setting a bar, because like, okay, I told you before we went live that I've been buying laser discs. One of those laser discs I bought was The Ghost in the Darkness, which is a perfect example of what you just said. That's a movie where I watched it and I was like, oh my god, this is like The Lost World but with lions. And it's exactly that, but I actually think it's better than The Lost World. So it's okay. That's the example that fits what you just said, basically. You know, that met the bar and exceeded it.
It gave you things to look for, things to not expect. And you know, bad movies do that too. I mean, Godzilla 1998 showed everyone exactly what they don't want in a Godzilla film.
That's so true, yeah. Yeah, well, maybe not for everyone, but yeah, like, yeah, that was actually, funny enough, one of the other laser discs I bought. It's Godzilla 98.
You brought this up, and I've been having similar thoughts, but you put it into a new frame for me to think about it. I feel the same way about the Nolan trilogy of Batman films, because of the change it made to DC movie making as a whole.
Yes, Man of Steel wouldn't be the film it is without the Nolan trilogy.
You're 100% right, and I'm a Man of Steel defender. Like I really like what Man of Steel was shooting for. It could have been tightened up in a couple of different places, but that's minutia here, and I can't watch those movies the same way anymore. And like, I see the Heath Ledger Joker and I go, oh, this guy is going to inspire the Jared Leto Joker. And I don't want to this isn't my problems with the Jared Leto Joker don't fall on Jared Leto. I want to make clear that I don't blame actors for their performances. I'm not out to hate anyone in particular other than bad screenwriters. And I do ultimately think that the Nolan trilogy made the DC universe worse overall.
Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting, because it's like... there was an example I have of that.
I agree with you, Big Shark. The Nolan Batmans are fine on their own, but everything else became a response to them.
Yes.
Or at least a mold by which to cut things out of. I loved Ant-Man because it was just so simple. It's just a family story, and I love Michael Pena. I think he's funny, and it's just it's a compelling little story about a divorced dad and his daughter. That's that movie, and I love it for it. Where the Dark Knight,
the over complicatedness, the over
and especially
trying too hard aspect of it.
Batman movie where he's not a detective. Come on, I want a detective Batman movie for once in my life, please.
Yeah, they haven't actually done that, have they?
That's why I have hopes for this new one with Twilight Kid.
Okay, you think they're actually going to go the detective route?
It looks that way, at least by the trailer.
Okay, I haven't watched the trailer because I'm not really a superhero man. I don't really follow it, but yeah. So there's an example of the opposite of what you just said about how like the Nolan everything tries to live up to what the Nolan films did. So you get films like AVP and AVP 2. Without those movies, we wouldn't have Prometheus.
Exactly.
So it goes the opposite way, because those films were so bad that the studio was like, give Ridley Scott whatever money he needs and tell him that we're game to make an alien film and see what he wants to do. I don't know if that's how it exactly went down, but the idea was like the studio was willing enough to go that route and give Ridley Scott the reins, and he basically just ran with it.
Yeah, and he had the name to attach enough money. He had an insurance policy, basically.
Yeah.
And he made a really good think piece out of it. Like, it may not be my favorite of the Alien films, but I still watch it and I still enjoy it. And there's more of that movie to like than there is to hate, really.
You talk about Prometheus
and Covenant. I think
I can't separate
Prometheus
those films, by the way. Just to
yeah,
interject. They're one
like...
story, and it's hard for me to separate them because Prometheus doesn't end. It only sets up, and then Covenant is like the payoff, and then Covenant even doesn't end solely, so it's like, oh, now we're waiting on the next chapter. But yeah, I always see them together because it's about David's arc, and we've got like 2/3 of the arc at the moment, whereas Prometheus, if you just watch it, it's like it's only the first third of the arc. So it's, yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. See you later, Big Shark. He's heading out. Cretaceous the Hunted. We can't talk about Dominion in any meaningful way. The Giganotosaurus sure is a big dinosaur.
Hey Jack, what are your thoughts on the Giganotosaurus being in Jurassic World Dominion? Not a spoiler because Samuel spoke about it on the news. It's a dinosaur. That's all I have to say, really. It's like, I'm not, I don't have any thoughts about until I see it in action. If I see it in action, then I'll judge. But at the moment, I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts about it. It's like, it's a big theropod. I guess all I can say is what's new, and we'll see. We'll see what's new. We'll see if they do anything new.
Harrison brought up the Apes franchise, and those movies continue to shock me with how decent they are.
I haven't rewatched them. Well, I haven't. I've watched the first one a lot because I have it, or I had it on Blu-ray. Then I got rid of it when Dawn came out because I was like, okay, I want to buy the box set when all 3 films are done. Now they're done, I haven't bought it, so I haven't watched them since the cinema, like Dawn and War. I haven't watched them since the cinema, so I need to go back and rewatch them because they are really good. They are really well done.
Yeah, they're just good stories. And, well, I don't like them enough to keep them in proper order, and I don't own them in any particular way. But through circumstance, I saw them all in relatively quick succession, and like, oh, these are pretty good.
I always find that funny that like the new Apes trilogy is a perfect example of someone making a trilogy that everyone agrees is really well made, really well acted, just solid, really good examples. And a lot of people tote them as like examples of how to make movies right. But you ask people, do they own them? When did they last see them? They're like, oh, I saw them a while ago. I don't actually really own them. It's like, oh god, the irony. You make something really good and no one really cares. It's like people want some bit of controversy or something wrong with the movie so they have something to talk about. Because if it's all good, it's like, what's there to talk about? Yeah, we all agree, it's great.
And then touching back further, talk about a franchise that had a lot of sequels.
Which one are we talking about?
Planet of the Apes.
The originals, yeah.
And that's not necessarily bad. Like, there are definitely certain franchises that just lend themselves to ongoing storytelling, and not every movie has to be that. But every movie company certainly wants one because that's a nice fat cash cow.
Yeah, definitely.
Cretaceous would also like to know what your thoughts are on Godzilla versus Kong, at least at this moment. Has your excitement level changed at all?
I'm super hyped. I just want to see big monkey fight big lizard. I don't know about anyone else, but I don't know how I'm going to watch it. I still don't know, because they're saying the posters here are saying in theaters, but we're shut. Theaters aren't open, even when it's meant to be released. They're not. The cinemas aren't open, so I'm going to have to stream it online somehow. But I don't have access to HBO Max over here.
Oh, you don't?
No. Well, I think I probably could if I've got a VPN, so maybe I can view it. But I don't know if HBO Max is going to be like, you're using a VPN, please turn it off, or you can't access it. It's like, because I know like some websites have done that in the past, so I haven't actually checked yet, but I'm just waiting to find out how I can view it. I need to view it because I just don't want to get spoiled. I just know someone's going to post who won the fight as soon as they can, and then it's like, okay, you've spoiled it. I want to see it fresh for the first time.
That's the only thing to spoil in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's I only want to preserve the one spoiler.
Why did they take away Kong's family? I don't get it. Because
every time.
That is infinite potential for the Apes movies. Bear it out that there's a lot more storytelling. Because otherwise, if you got Kong and he's just Kong, he turns into basically a Godzilla clone on his own. He's just got to fight the next monster. And you got to go in a different direction with Kong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't even know. I mean, if I'm honest, like, I'm just sort of satisfied with seeing big monkey fight big lizard. I'm not really fussed about this particular Kong having like an interesting backstory or anything. But if they were to continue it, which, you know, I guess unless they have horrible intake of funds, I don't see why they would not continue it. But yeah, maybe they could do something there, then I'd be more open to it. But for Godzilla versus Kong, I don't know, unless you're expecting like Kong's son to join him in the fight against Godzilla.
Sir Hammerlock says, Jack, I think it depends on what age you watch Godfather. What is he talking about?
I watched Godfather for the first time. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll just say when you get more mature, the more you like it. That might be true, because I watched The Godfather when I was like 17, 18, and I just didn't like it. I was just like, this is dull. I was like, this is just not engaging me.
You ever seen Tombstone?
No, actually I haven't, but I know I have a friend who was obsessed with it, so I know that it's like touted as really good.
My dad showed me it as a kid, and I'm like, Dad, this is boring. And now, like, oh god, it is so watchable. It is just the best Western with Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and Bill Paxton, right?
Yeah, he's in it for a hot cup of coffee.
Yeah, okay. He wasn't even on set. He was just on set. They were like, just stick that.
He was around, but he's hidden behind a mustache and a thick accent. He doesn't Bill Paxton it up, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what you want. Yeah, and my wife was saying that she has never seen any of the Godfathers, so we actually have been planning to sit down and watch all three, because I've only seen the first one, so I'm missing out on the sequel that everyone says is potentially better than the first one.
I've never seen any of the Godfathers either. I saw Heat. I liked Heat.
Yeah, I like Heat. Yeah, Heat's good. I've only seen it once though.
I want to break your brain a little bit.
Do it, break my brain.
The Dark Knight is just a shitty remake of Heat.
Yeah, I guess. I've only seen Heat once, so to make that comparison, I've watched The Dark Knight a lot more, so it's like I'd need to watch Heat again. But you might be right. I can see the similarities from what I remember of Heat.
The only thing that doesn't line up is Two-Face, but really, like, there's some strong parallels there.
Yeah, it's like Avengers is just a really bad remake of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I love that movie.
I know, me too. I've got a real soft spot for it. We did a commentary on it, and like I was blowing everyone's mind by telling them how much of a remake of Avengers is. I was like, look, this is just like Avengers. And they're like, oh my god, it is. And I was like, look at this, it's just like Avengers. I said, Joss Whedon must have watched this and just ripped it off. Wait, it was Joss Whedon who did Avengers, right? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, but he had he had a lot of backroom help on that one, because that's an ecumenical nightmare managing that many characters on screen.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is really the lesson to take from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because they boom, 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 boom. They establish 5 unique characters that you're relatively familiar with in pretty quick order.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, are you talking about League there? Yeah, not Avengers. Yes, yeah. I was about to say, I was in my brain. I was thinking Avengers, and I was like, no, they had like they had Iron Man's film and but you're talking about League. Yeah, League's great. League's just like, if you screw all the origin movies, this is the origin movie for them. I don't know, it's just fun. There's just something about it. And I know that like it was what caused Sean Connery and the director to quit filmmaking or retire. And I'm like, I can understand that as well, but at the same time, this is such a fun movie. It's just so stupid and brilliant. And when I was saying it, when we were watching it for the commentary, I was saying how like it's such an oddball group of characters. And I know it's based off a comic book, so it had been the comic book guys who chose them, but like that is such an oddball group of characters to put together. Like you wouldn't put Captain Nemo with Dorian Gray and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Huckleberry Finn, dude.
Huckleberry Finn, yeah.
CIA agent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I love little twists like that.
And Dr. Moriarty, like Sherlock's not even in it. It's Dr. Moriarty.
The Lone Ranger really is crying out for Zorro to pop in. Like he would fit, and the Three Musketeers. The Lone Ranger is a missed opportunity for a franchise like that. I really think.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the Lone Ranger as a standalone movie, but I can also see exactly what you're saying there.
I didn't mean to insert them, but as the foundation movie, as the Iron Man movie for a franchise like that,
yes,
they could have spun out, because Disney owns Zorro, and it's the exact same setting, exact same time frame. Come on,
yeah.
Three Musketeers are public property. Let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, that could work. Wasn't the last Three Musketeers movie that won by... Oh, God, who did it? It wasn't Roland Emmerich. Who was it? Someone did a Three Musketeers movie, and it was...
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I'll Google it. I have the Google Foo.
You have the Google Foo. Use the Google Foo. Zorro and Tarzan crossover. Cretaceous Darned asks, what's your favourite Godzilla series? Showa, Heisei, Millennium, Monsterverse, or Reiwa? Never heard of Reiwa. What's that one? If I had to pick my favourite out of those, it would probably be the Heisei era. Although the Monsterverse is pretty fun. There's a little kid in me is really happy seeing these monsters in CGI, and that might sound a little bit hollow. But when I was a kid, knowing Jurassic Park and the effects, I'd watch the old Godzilla films. I'd be like, God, I wonder what this looks like if it was done in like just CGI, but like the most money poured into it rather than half-baked CGI. And then we got Godzilla 98, and I was like, yeah, but this is still not what I've seen. And then Godzilla King of the Monsters comes out, and despite whatever you think of that movie, seeing Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, and Godzilla all together on screen in glorious CGI with everything, all the effects being poured into it, was just like, okay, I know this is sounding shallow because it's just visuals, but I don't like, that's just like my kid's wet dream right there, seeing them all on screen together in those effects.
A handful of fresh new ones. I want a Mammoth movie. Tell me more about the Muto. There was another Muto?
Yeah. After all that trouble they went through with the Mutos in the first one, there's just another one out there.
So the Three Musketeers was directed by none other than Paul W.S. Anderson.
There you go.
Stars his wife and favorite character, Mila Jovovich.
Okay, there you go. I knew it was like a Roland Emmerich type director, you know, someone who's just like, they've had their heyday, but now they're just dealing in schlock. Yeah, I get it. Oh my God, Paul W.S. Anderson. Get that man away from cameras.
We just got to carve out a franchise just for him. Can't ruin anymore.
I can't imagine if he made his own thing. That would be great. Just see what he comes up with. Go, you can do anything, mate. Here's all the money. What do you want to make? And see what he comes up with. He's like, can my wife be in it? Like, yes.
I know Clayton would echo this with me, but like, it is so sad that he got the Resident Evil franchise because the story in those games is so rich that it belongs on screen. And it is only just now trickling through, and it's the really action-heavy stuff that I really want to put you in front of the first game at some point. I know you're busy, so we
it'll be a while.
Another day.
Bear in mind, I'm not a fan of tank controls, so I'll complain a lot. But I'd be willing to play it. Maybe we'll see. This is the thing.
2021. We could work around that.
But here's the thing. Dragon Curve. The idea behind Dragon Curve, the channel, is Clayton wants to build that up. So he wants that to be a really successful channel. And if it gets to a point, he's got a point in his head where he wants it to get to. If it gets to that, then I'll be live streaming with Clayton, like on a weekly basis. So we would be able to play Resident Evil. So it's like that's one of those things where it's like that's what we want to get it to eventually. And he's got this game plan set out, so he's working on that behind the scenes. Like right now, Dragon Curve is we're just poking the bear a bit with it, just to see, try some new things out between us. But the ultimate goal is that he wants that channel to be really popular. So he's gonna gun for that, and then he wants it to be like the game. Get his gaming live streams are on there, and he wants it to be weekly. So one can hope. And then I would.
That's
and it
where
could,
it's at. And I know the algorithm rewards consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, hello, Never Not So Clever at This. Welcome.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, didn't know you were in the chat. What is the time? How long have we been streaming for? Oh, only 2. God, good God, we've got ages left. That's good.
What are you drinking, Hair Jack?
That is a peach Jim Beam, which is whiskey, and Pepsi Zero.
Oh, I didn't know we could go blue. Let me go get the Southern Comfort.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I drink all the time on stream. It doesn't bother me. Love drinking. I don't like to drink to get drunk though.
I love a drink with a meal. I'm getting to that age now.
Yeah.
Where, like, if I want a beer, it's with a burger and fries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm with you on that. The thing is, like, I do, like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't mind getting tiddly, like, getting a bit merry and having drinks, but, like, to get drunk, I'm not, like, no, not anymore. I've been there, I've done that, I've had many a wild night. I'm not doing that ever again. Not to the extent that I used to, anyway.
I still, quote-unquote, toot the zoot, as your terminology would put it.
Oh, yeah, you were in a country where you're allowed, so I don't blame you. We're just going to pretend where you are. It definitely is allowed. I don't know if you'll state it. Yeah. But yeah, you're allowed. Yeah, you're good. You're in California, aren't you? Yeah.
I'm in Springfield.
Yeah. You're sucking on those Shelbyville lemons. That's what you're doing.
That's a callback.
I know. It's my favourite moment of The Simpsons ever. Is when that guy from Shelbyville sucks on that lemon and his eyes go watery and he's like just staring at Homer while his eyes go messed up.
Harrison, I have been looking at land in Australia. It is not cheap. It is either expensive on the coast because everyone lives on the coast, or it's 100 square miles of nothing in the middle. There's no in between in that country. You can't buy land out there. And Chinese speculation is through the roof. When I bought my house, it was from a Chinese holding company.
And also, they don't have the Second Amendment, so you don't want to be out there with all that space where people could just disappear you and no one would ever know without some form of protection.
Listen, when you're a criminal, everyone has the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Whereas in the UK, where I live, it's like we're such a small country. If someone was to kill someone, you'd just trip over the body in like an hour. You'd be like, oh god, there it is. It's like so small. There's no way of hiding anything. That's a joke, by the way. It's like no one really kills anyone in the UK. We're all too.
I just recently learned that the UK had the most prolific serial killer. I don't remember his name. He was basically a death doctor. He was
Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman. Yeah. Oh god, what a horrendous monster.
There were a couple of those stateside.
Yeah, god, that's just dark. It's hideous. They see Harold Shipman, not to go too on a Jack the Ripper, Harrison says. Yeah, exactly. They never caught him, by the way. What was I gonna say? Like, I don't know how much you know about Jordan Peterson's outlook on things, but like, I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but like, have you heard him talk about like being when he realised that he could have become like a Nazi death camp guard? Have you heard him talk about this?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to say next. I can't work out how I could be Harold Shipman. Does that make sense? Because like applying that logic, I'm like, I could never be someone who murders old people as a doctor.
No, like that's a unique power trip, and like an individual like.
Because I would assume Jordan Peterson would say something along the lines of serial killers are kind of unique, whereas like the Nazi guard is like there's a culture's failed and normal people have fallen down. They've gone down a rabbit hole that they didn't even know they were down until it's too late, kind of thing.
Not just a rabbit hole, but the entire society geared itself towards a war footing. Like when every facet of your society is saying, hey, look, we got to go kill those guys, and we got to round up your neighbors who got the funny noses because they can't be trusted.
Yeah.
We're just forget about them. And if you want to take their stuff, it's okay. We'll deal with it.
But then, it's kind of different when it comes to the serial killer aspect.
Yeah, that's kind of a monolith, sort of like he's not spreading his idea to anyone else. He's not going out and evangelizing. Look, I'm poisoning old people, and I'm re-engineering society to do so. Radical new plan.
Join me. Yeah.
It's going to be like Logan's Run, but on crack.
The opposite way around. It's like you can't live to 100. You have to die at 70. It's just the new age.
By me in particular, who this rule doesn't apply to.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the ultimate stinger in that case. James asks, who's Jack talking to? I'm talking to Al, aka Dr. Tanystropheus. I almost said Dr. Pterodome. Dr. Tanystropheus.
You're Dr. Pterodome.
I am Dr. Pterodome. That is me. And I am the Harold Shipman of space. I'm not. Don't take that the wrong way, YouTube, please.
Don't worry, it will.
No, it's okay. This channel's so tiny. I'm like hopefully barely noticeable on the radar of things.
No, you don't want that attitude, Jack.
No, I know. That's the alligator will eat me last.
Here to expand.
Yeah. There's also the alligator will eat me last type mindset I just said there. It's like, that's fine, I'm small, it won't get to me. And then do-do-do, next thing on the news, Jack says he's Harold Shipman. What? No, never said that.
We're going to get Dino-Defenders Extreme into YouTube Rewind.
God, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? People would watch and be like, what is this? So, speaking of Dino-Defenders, actually, I rewatched part of episode 3 because I was like going over like the plot of episode 4, and there was an idea I was floating around, and I was like, actually I can say this because I'm not going to do it, but I was floating the idea of Mia not being Rose's granddaughter. that she was leading Jess on for X or Y reason. I've abandoned this idea, by the way.
That's fucked up.
Because the reason I abandoned it, well, the reason I came up with it to begin with is because Rose... Have you ever seen Rose and Mia talk yet in the series together? No. And so I thought, hang on, there's a plot point I can use here, potentially. So I was going back through episode 3 trying to work out if I could actually write this in. And then I realised, actually, I'm going to be... It's like too many... No, that's not the right saying. I'm like changing the recipe at the last second. And I'm like, no, you're going to mess it up. You should pull back from this idea. It's too complicated and you're going to mess things up. And stick to the plan, basically. And... But when I was going back through episode 3, I was like, God, there's this badly written in parts. So I really do need a big rewrite of some of the dialogue when it comes to the final movie version.
Where do you think it's badly written?
I think things like when they say, when Rose, she's showing them the Megaraptor, and she's like, she's sleeping on a full stomach, and here she is on full display to you. It's like you've used the word "fool" twice, so it's like might be a different way of wording that, so it sounds a little bit more natural. And there's also the whole conversation in the lab between Doc and Victor and Hank, which I don't like. I'm like, I need to rewrite that. There's just something about it. I'm like, I don't think I'm using cognitive dissonance right. Like. Or if I'm using it right, I'm not explaining it further. Like he skips over some of the detail of that, and I'm like, I need to expand on that a bit. So it might even include like another frame of the Doc there, but then that means changing the music. So I'm like, maybe I need to word it in that same frame. So the last one's going to be really complicated because I'm going to have to try and keep the timing of everything, but like add bits in and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I'm going to try and really hammer home the point that when you're watching the episodes, you're still not seeing the final product, because the final product of this whole endeavor is the big long movie. For all it, whatever faults come with that when it's finally released, that's the final one. So, people watch these live streams, you're seeing me create the series. When the episodes are released, you're still technically seeing me create the series because you're not watching the final thing. You're seeing like...
It sounds cruder than I mean it, but rough draft.
Yeah, it's like the first draft. You're seeing like a second or third draft. But I have to release it so you can kind of see how it's going. Because if not, people would definitely lose interest. If they're just seeing this and never seeing what I'm working on. But plus that'll also hopefully make it interesting, because you'll be able to go back and compare and be like, oh, that's what he changed, or that's different.
Yeah, do definitely leave the older versions up.
Yeah, I definitely will. There's also the idea, I already know, and I'm already sort of admitting to myself that there's going to be moments where people go, I wish he didn't change that. And I'm going to be like, sorry. But
yeah, but you're
sorry,
balancing against all the other people saying, oh, I wish he did X. And that one of those voices is yourself. And I will be right back.
Okay, cool. Harrison says, don't you dare take them down. No, I won't, don't worry. Harrison also says episode 4 is going to be terrific. Thank you. Maggie says, DDX translations are a thing. I know people on Discord know the answer, but any of the others. Well, the thing about the translations is, I think people should hold off on those until the final thing is out, because, like I said, I'm going to be changing some things. I mean, I guess you could just do the translations for the episodes that I've released, but just keep in mind that there's going to be changes. So. Harrison says, I want to see Nightcrawler, because David asks, have you seen Nightcrawler? If that's the Jake Gyllenhaal film, yes, I have seen it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, that's a screwy movie.
Yeah. It's not like a incredible. Hey, another Bill Paxton movie.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he's in that. Yeah, I have seen it. It was good.
Is that his last movie?
No, I don't think so. I think there's another movie that he did. It might. Oh, I don't know. It might be though.
I'm pulling up his IMDb.
Okay, let's see. God, there's so much detail in this bloody frame. Why have I chosen to do this?
Chosen the hard road of an artist.
The fucking struggling artist. Yeah, fit that stereotype. You've seen this frame. You know what I'm trying to... the detail I'm trying to add here.
So many dead Tanystropheus. How could you?
I know. Jack in the chat says, Terran 3000, we need to watch Night Flyers sometime. Oh, that I know which Jack that is. Hello, Jack. Hello, Ansel. Night Flyers, is that the vampire film?
That does not ring any bells. Let me pull that up.
I swear there's a film called Night Flyers. It's got like a vampire on the cover. It's like an old 90s movie.
Apparently 1997. Yeah, looks like a vampire movie. American horror film based on the 1988 short story of the same title by Stephen King. Ooh.
Oh, Jack says no, the J.R.R. Martin sci-fi series. Okay, so he's talking about something different. It has the same name. And now we've got you interested in the Stephen King Night Flyers. I haven't seen that one, by the way. He says no, it's the series. Well, when lockdown ends, Jack, and I can come see your new pad, then yes, definitely. We'll watch it when I come over. It's like Alien without xenomorphs. Cool. Yeah, I'm down. That's the way of selling me. It's like Alien, you know that film with the xenomorphs in? But it's got no xenomorphs in it. Oh, brilliant, yeah.
And the lockdown must be particularly harsh overseas because, like, I will be perfectly honest with you. I have felt no major changes in my life other than I can't go to Walmart at 3 a.m. anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we went because there was a new strain breakout in London, so the government went into panic mode, and basically we're not allowed to go around anyone's house or anything, but we're not allowed to. Nothing's open aside from like the essentials, like shops and pharmacies, like food establishments, not restaurants, but like coffee shops are open and all that. But they're basically just... It started last year with 2 weeks to bend the curve or whatever they called it, and they were saying like we're not gonna beat the virus, but we're gonna stop the NHS being overwhelmed and all this sort of stuff. And then cut to the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, all the rhetoric is we're going to beat the virus. We're going to destroy it. And it's like, I thought we couldn't. I thought you said it was like trying to control the weather, which is what I think it's like. So, but they've got this roadmap now to reopening. So they've got June in their sights. June 21st is the magic date. They're saying that if all goes well, everything is going to open up. Like everything is going to go back to normal. June 21st, because we are leading the charge apparently in the world with our vaccine. So we're doing very well with our vaccine. So they want every adult to have the vaccine in the UK by October or September or something. So we'll see how that goes. I'm trying my best to not actually believe it until I see it, because I've been let down so much. So we'll see how it goes.
And that just sounds a world apart from where I'm at. Like everything's basically open.
Yeah, my wife watches this guy on YouTube called Prince Charming Dev. He's just this vlogger who goes around like Disney theme parks and Universal, and he lives in Florida. and it's like just normal aside from the masks. And it's like we're so like, oh my god, wish we could experience that.
Yeah, and I live on the border of Amish country, i.e. Hickville, and you get out there and masks are kind of like poo-pooed, like, yeah, you're one of those, aren't you?
Yeah. See, I don't really wear a mask unless I'm going into a shop where it's like you can't come in unless you wear a mask. It's like, oh, for God's sake. But I don't wear a mask anywhere else.
I've got a really comfortable one, and I don't mind just because I'm used to it from my job. I absolutely have to. I work with at-risk health individuals.
Yeah, I don't actually have a mask. I wear a bandana thing, like a bandit, like a neck. I want to say neck sleeve. There's a word for it. I think it's bandana, but I just pull up over my mouth like I'm working, like Kevin Bacon in Tremors when they're cleaning the shit. The tank is like that. I think it's bandana is the word. I swear there's another name for them.
I've been meaning to just go all in and get a badass balaclava without a mouthpiece.
Oh my! Just get a Bane mask, or a. And I'm not talking Bane from bloody Dark Knight Rises. I'm talking Bane from Batman and Robin, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm confident enough I could rock the luchador from the comics.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So when things open up, I'll be able to go around my friend Jack's house and we can, toot the zoot and watch some cool stuff. See what happens.
You mentioned something a couple streams ago that you've got a family bubble that you're allowed to coordinate with.
Yeah, because we've got a baby under 1. You're allowed, by law, to create a bubble with another household. So you mix. You only pick one house and you mix. However, it also stipulates that if you then self-isolate for 10 days, you can change your bubble to someone else's house. So we've changed from my mum to my sister, and we're going to change again to my wife's family over the coming months. But that's just, my sister's got 2 little kids as well, and they're so I mean, they're back at school now, but like they're I'm having that Claire moment in Jurassic World. You don't know how old your nephews are. He's 7 and he's about to turn 7. He keeps saying he's 7. But he's about to turn 7, and she's not even 4 yet. And my sister was like, they're running around the house. They've got so much energy. I can't keep up. We need some sort of stimulation. So we bubbled with her to help her out as well, to be like hang out with the kids. And that's why I had my nephew stay over the other night, and that was the first time he ever stayed over someone else's house that wasn't like his nan's. And we built a fort in the living room. We watched Jurassic World, which was his movie choice, and I picked Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. He'd never seen it before.
Oh, good.
And he's cracking up, and I was like, you live vicariously through them. I was like, he loves animals, he loves Jurassic. This is something completely out of left field for him. He's gonna laugh his head off.
You skipped the first one too, which really you should.
The first one's okay, but like I just don't think it would have held his attention. Whereas the
not
second
for that young a kid. The second one aimed just a little bit younger in their demographic.
Yes, but not by much. There was the moment where, the lady takes her top down and he's like, those are very nice, but I've taken a vow of celibacy. And he was watching that, and then the next scene is when Greenwald walks into the tent and he's like, oh God, like, he's like covers himself up. He's like, I've just been practicing my mantra. And he looked at me and he's like, what was he doing under that straw? And I was like, he's practicing his mantra. Did you not hear him? Like, I just didn't tell him. I was like, oh God. Like, I'm not having that conversation
back to his mom.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, he's practicing the things he learned from the monks at the beginning. Do you remember the monks? And he's like, oh yeah. And then he didn't question it. Which is funny because that's exactly what I thought he was doing when I was a kid when I saw it. I didn't have anyone telling me anything. I just thought, I took him as his word. I was like, he's practicing his mantra. I didn't get the joke. I just thought he was being silly. But my nephew Charlie, he said his favourite bit in the movie was right at the beginning with the hungry fella, and he feeds the little birds by throwing up in their mouths. And he also liked the bit with the monster truck at the end. When he saw that monster truck, he was like, oh. I was like, yeah. You didn't expect that, did you? Anyway,
Jack says we need another Ace Ventura movie.
We got one. It's called Son of Ace Ventura. Were you not satisfied?
Oh, that one missed me. What were you saying?
And he also loved the rhino sequence. Obviously, every kid loves the rhino sequence.
You've seen the edit where they've taken the rhino sequence and put it over the chestburster scene in Alien, haven't you?
No, I've seen the edit where they've taken it with Jurassic Park, where they get out the jeeps and they're looking at the Brachiosaurus, but it cuts and
I'll send it to you. Give me
okay, I need to see that. But yeah, no, it was great to watch it with him, and there's so many other films that he hasn't seen, and I can't wait to show him them. I've got them all lined up, so he's going to stay over again soon, so I'm just going to try and pick my movie carefully, because I want it to be one that sticks with him, because he's like memories, he's going to remember doing all this sort of stuff. Ace Ventura Jr. is shit, says Maggie. And we get another one with Kerry, if I remember the news correctly. I don't want another one. End on a high.
I'm less cynical, and I like Jim Carrey in most things.
Yeah, me too.
Not everything. And Ace Ventura is one of those. I think there's he can have a little bit of fun on screen with that. I think there's just a little bit of.
I don't know if he's got the energy for it. You watch When Nature Calls. My God, the energy that guy has, he's insane. That was another thing my nephew said. We were watching the movie and we were just at the beginning, right? So he's on the plane doing the yak yak into the guy's ear, and my nephew turns to me and goes, "Why is he insane?" I was like, I said, he just is. I was like, he just is. But what's funny about, and I was like, I don't want to explain the joke to him, but I kind of did. I was like, what's funny is that no one else is insane. He's the only one. And watch how they all react to him. And he was like, okay. But it was just the fact that he sat there questioning it, and he was like, he wasn't laughing at the fact that he was making yak noises or anything. He was just like, why is this guy insane? Like, what's going on with this guy? It was quite sweet.
David the Master wants to know if you'd seen 127 Hours.
No, I haven't.
It's pretty good.
The James Franco movie, right?
Honestly, you could probably just watch the back half hour and get the feel of the movie.
Yeah, I've heard that it's, I'm not against gore, but when I've heard that it has this insane gory moment where he's cutting his arm off and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't really care to watch a movie where a guy's trapped in the rocks and that's the highlight of the movie.
It is a little bit more than that. There's a lot of personal build-up for that guy, and
I guess it's based on a true story, right?
The good part of that scene is the 5 minutes leading up to it, him psyching himself up to it,
right?
And
yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. There's nothing. I'm not really drawn to it, but I might watch it one day and like it.
It isn't. It's a slow movie. I'll tell you that much. And it doesn't indulge on the gore say Hostel or one of those stupid movies. Those I cannot stand.
Yeah, I know it's not like those. But yeah, there's just, I'd have to be in the right mood to watch 127 Hours. And I just never find myself in the right mood. It's I only saw Schindler's List for the first time last year for the same reasons.
Really?
Same reasons. I was like, I know this is about the Holocaust. I know it's a depressing movie. Depressing, it has an uplifting ending, but it's I knew what it was dealing with, and I was like, I'm gonna have to be in the right mood to watch this. And then last year,
it isn't just a Sunday afternoon. Hey, let's watch this and cuddle, babe.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny, do you know, it's gonna sound quite dark, but the moment I was sat there was my daughter was asleep on my lap, newborn, and I was trapped. She was asleep on me on the couch, and I was like, I don't want to move. My wife was in bed, and I was in the living room, and I was like, I need to watch something. And I was like, I don't know why, but now's the time. And I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. So I watched it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really well-made movie, thought-provoking, and not as depressing as I was expecting it to be. It was more like just haunting, but at the same time, it was a really weird scenario to be in. I was like, I'm looking down at my daughter, and I think maybe the reason I wanted to watch it is because I had her on my lap, and I was like, I wanted to feel protective. I wanted to do the dad. I want to feel protective. Watch this movie about Nazis that makes me hate them.
I think you're the kind of guy who might get more out of the director's commentary than just the movie alone.
Of what, Schindler's List?
Yeah,
because I know Spielberg had a rough time, like, dealing with making Jurassic Park at the same time as that.
And all the little events, all the little stories, those are real.
Yeah,
and I mean the ending, they show most of the actors in the movie are the grandchildren of the people who survived it.
But that's what's weird for me. That's what sat weird with me. Why I said haunting is because Spielberg basically forced them to go through what their ancestors did.
He did.
Not forced them. That's a bit of a harsh word. But do you know what I'm saying? Like he got them to go through all that. So like, obviously
I hope it was a really big catering truck and some nice pillows ready for him and blankets and ready to go.
Yeah, and a stacked load of money because, like, hey,
right.
your ancestors were forced to run around this camp completely butt naked. Let's do the same, okay, Mr. Spielberg. Like, it's sat odd with me in a way. It was like, okay, it's like history is repeating itself, but obviously to a lot lesser extent. But it kind of sat funny with me in that way, because I was like, he is kind of just recreating it. I know it's a movie, but at the same time, it's so gritty and realistic. It's like that's what's making it really disturbing.
I don't know if he ever said it, but to me, it feels like balancing the scales, because he had used Nazis as a cartoon villain two or three times beforehand. And my dad sat me down to watch that movie and explained, this is why these are the bad guys in Indiana Jones and all these other movies that they use them in. Like, there's a reality to the matter that I would venture he felt the need to convey, as indulgent and as sad
I completely
as
agree,
it is.
actually. Yeah, it feels odd to me though that he used, or I guess they voluntarily, or they agreed to do it, but like the ancestors of the people who actually went through it. It's like that's what I don't know. Did they want to walk through their ancestors' shoes in some way? Like, that's the part I want to know, because I'm kind of like left in the what if scenario of like, or not. Well, I'm dealing with like questions in my head of like, did they really like doing this? Like, they didn't to a certain extent, because they're dealing with reality that their family went through,
and the children, because there were a lot of young kids in that film.
Yeah.
And again, to reiterate, this is not shading any darkness on Spielberg or his reason to do it, but you're left to digest that personal decision. Like, you're in those shoes and you're with your daughter on your lap. Do you sign her up for a movie that depicts a tragedy that you still personally feel?
Yeah. See, I wouldn't. I'd be like, I don't know. It just seems a bit weird.
And it is.
I can't even.
Not to paint the other side of that as bad. because it isn't. It certainly isn't.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is like I just didn't know why it was then and there that made me want to watch it. I mean, I guess it must have been to do with like I wanted to, I don't know, the morbid curiosity of knowing how harsh life could be. And I guess like I could have put a documentary on or something, but I just wanted the emotional visceralness, and I knew that this film dealt with that. I've heard everyone say that it deals with it in a really like direct way, an unapologetic way. And so watching it, I was like, okay, this is a really, really well made movie. And it just made me want to just hold on to my daughter like much closer and be like, Jesus Christ, let nothing like that happen to my generations to come, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's to remind people it's still an open wound. It still affects modern politics today.
You don't say.
Not relevant.
You don't say. People don't just call people Nazis. That'd be just too easy and ridiculous. Yeah. No one does that. What are you talking about?
That's one of the great things about this film, is that it de-cartoonifies the Nazis.
Definitely, Ralph Fiennes is like terrifying in it.
The only other movies that really go into depth like that are like Stalingrad, Enemy at the Gates, like not even like Pearl Harbor dives in that. Well, Pearl Harbor is fairly indulgent, but okay, a more serious movie like Patton, or everyone really skirts around the darkness of those moments, save for, you know, those standout movies like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Yeah. Well, even like Saving Private Ryan has moments where he does it again. It's because he really humanizes the Nazis in that. That's what gets me. Like, especially the moment which really gets to me is when that guy gets stabbed through the heart and the Nazis like telling him to shush. He's like, shh. It's like, oh god, that's so. Yeah, it's like he's being compassionate, but he's not. It's such a mix of emotions I go through whenever I watch that movie, and
that
especially
sniper
that
duel. Sniper duel with Vin Diesel dying in the road.
Yeah, oh my god, I forget Vin Diesel's in that.
I know.
Oh my god. Could you imagine there's an alternative universe out there somewhere where Vin Diesel is Spielberg's Tom Hanks? They switched.
Oh god.
You know, that if there is a multiverse that exists out there.
Vin Diesel did come back to voice the Iron Giant for Ready Player One, so there's a little bit of precedent there.
Oh my god, he did. Yeah, he did. But just think of like Catch Me If You Can, but instead of Tom Hanks chasing Leonardo DiCaprio, it's Vin Diesel. Or The Terminal.
The Terminal starring Vin Diesel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why am I here?
That's a really good impression. Oh god, I'm trying to think of the other Tom Hanks Spielberg movies.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and Mutt is Vin Diesel. That might be a big improvement.
Hey man, I like Shia LaBeouf's the best thing about that movie. Yes,
that's
the hill I'm gonna die on.
Stevens fan. I am OG old school on Shia LaBeouf. I feel so bad for that man.
Well, you can't feel totally bad because he does a lot of stuff himself that has sort of, well, I don't know if he'd say he's ruined things, but yeah, some of the blame's on him, I would say. But you know, I think Mutt's the best thing about Indiana Jones 4. And it's just a shame that
after season 1 of Capture the Flag, all the blame's on him. He should have known not to poke the bear.
Capture the Flag, you're gonna have to, I don't know what that is.
Oh, the He Will Not Divide Us epic?
Yep, okay, I know what that is. Yep, that webcam show.
Season 1 was no, season 2 was Capture the Flag. Internet Historian has the whole series up.
Okay. Oh god, I'm just thinking of Tom Hanks. So me and my wife, right, when we watch movies, we're noticing, because the human brain is designed to notice patterns, right? So we've been noticing a lot of patterns with actors and what they usually do. And everyone knows about, like, Tom Cruise likes to run in his movies. So he always has to run. There's always that scene where he does that long run. Joaquin Phoenix has his cameras really close up to his face. Like, he has to have the camera like right up in his face, as close as possible, at several points in his movies. Tom Hanks likes to piss. That's his thing. He likes to piss on screen for everyone to see, and it's really, really weird why he likes to do that in so many movies. I don't know if you've noticed this.
I was gonna guess, is it Tom Hanks yelling in the rain? Because he does that a lot too. But no, the peeing, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
So he pees in Forrest Gump. He shakes the president's hand and he's like, I have to pee.
Bridge of Spies with Vin Diesel, I'm sorry. That's a totally different movie.
Obviously the big one is the Green Mile. His entire character is based around the fact that he has a pissing problem, and then he has to like fix. He gets his pee fixed, and he has this this scene, this gratuitous scene of him pissing and enjoying it for the first time in a long time, where he's like, Castaway. He pisses into the ocean. Apollo 13. There's like that scene where they're like, that's a beautiful sight, and there's just his piss is just going out into space. It's like, why, Tom Hanks? So in an alternate universe, that's Vin Diesel's piss. He's obsessed with pissing. It's not Tom Hanks. It's a completely different actor.
Well, even by the time Vin Diesel enters the picture, Tom Hanks has still peed a lot on screen.
That is true. I think there's something in Splash as well to do with peeing. It's weird, but we noticed
through Big, and I'm trying to think.
He pisses because I think he pisses on the toilet seat because he's so big he doesn't realise. If I remember correctly, because we did watch that not too long ago, actually. But we were watching we were watching Johnny Depp. We were watching Benny and June the other day, which I'll just stipulate is one of the films on my 20 list. I love Benny and June. It's a movie that has just solid characters. It's just sweet. There's nothing. This is such a harmless movie.
I'll have to find that one.
Yeah, and I have a love for it because it's a brother sister movie, and I'm a brother, so I'm like I relate to it in that way. Not that my sister's handicapped or anything, like June is in the movie, but there's just this relationship they have, and it just reminds me of my relationship with my sister. So like I have this connection to it. But anyway, point is, Johnny Depp in that movie, his thing is eating weird things that make him get his tongue out and be like he does that in almost every movie he's in.
You're right, yeah.
Like, there's actors have these weird quirks that they do, and I don't know if it's some horrible fetish that they're playing out on screen, if they stipulate it in their contracts, if they talk to the directors and go, we have to have this scene in there. I won't do the film unless, yeah.
If it's a totem for a vast conspiracy of ruling elites trying to program us.
Exactly. This is it. Or if it's just coincidence. The one that throws me off is Tom Hanks, though, the most. That peeing, it's weird how often he has to pee in his movies. Like, it's beyond a joke now.
Gump, him and the president.
Mm-hmm. There's more. What other Tom Hanks films out there? Just trying to think now. Toy Story is the only one Toy Story.
But he can't functionally do that in those movies.
No, I swear there's something to do with that sort of thing in Toy Story somewhere.
I'm sure there's a pee joke in at least one of them. I don't have them in the front of my memory. And I don't know if I ever saw 2 all the way through.
Oh, 2's great. I actually watched that 2 days ago. I watched what did we watch? I watched King of the Monsters in the morning. And then I watched Toy Story 2 because my daughter was actually sleeping, so I had some time and I was just relaxing, and I was having one of those days where I'm like, I'm not going to paint. I can't. My mind's like melting. I just need to put some movies on, and so King of the Monsters it was, because there's not much to think about with that movie. It's just monsters fighting, and then yeah, Toy Story 2 because I was like, I haven't watched that in a while, and I like the Toy Story movies. No, Toy Story 4 is not the best, Manchi. You're just saying the opposite of what everyone else wants to hear. Toy Story 4 ruins everything.
I definitely haven't seen Toy Story 4.
I'm
kind of afraid to see it. However, somebody poisoned the water hole.
Exactly.
However, I cannot. I might go back and watch Toy Story 4 after the
Toy Story 4 fundamentally breaks Toy Story.
That's that video I sent you.
But it's true.
Of Toy Story.
But it's true. He's making jokes in that video, but what he says is true. It really does. And not only that, can I spoil Toy Story 4 for you?
Do it.
No one wants to see Woody abandon Bonnie and become a bum. That's not how everyone wants Woody's story to end.
That's a dark ending.
Yeah, he just abandons her because he finds Bo Peep. It's like, fucking, who cares? Like, this not the story that was being told.
But that's not Andy's trilogy, Jack. That's Ripley 8.
I know. It's awful. It's awful. And it's just so bad. Poor Bonnie. She just loses Woody. She loved Woody.
Oh, God. That's another fourth film with a white hybrid.
Who's the white hybrid in that?
Spoonie.
Oh, my God.
Porky.
Oh, my God, yes. What is it about? See, humans' brain noticing patterns here. What is it about 4 films and white hybrids? It's a thing.
Oh, there's got to be more. I'm going to do a little more research on this.
Fast and Furious 4 has this hybrid car. It's electric and it's got gas.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure the other actors. We had a list. Me and my wife were having this crap. We're laughing our heads off. We're listing all these actors and going, "What are their thing?" And then we were going through them all. There's someone else we mentioned as well. I can't remember now.
Thank you for coming in on the pinch for defending the Rescuers Down Under. That is a sleeper gem in the Disney franchise.
Are you talking to me, yeah? Or someone in the chat? Did they mention it?
No, I was just bringing it up to you.
Yeah. I love Rescuers Down Under. It's amazing. Great movie. Good sequel. Better than the original.
Oh, by a country mile. And I don't like hating on that first movie because we don't get the second movie without it. Yeah, Kate, Ocarina of Time. The movie Toy Story 4 felt unneeded, but the concept overshoots it.
Yeah, see the thing with the Toy Story films is the first one deals with a toy learning he's a toy, right? Second one deals with a toy. Basically, you see every aspect of in the original Andy trilogy, if we're calling it that. Like
it's about birth, family, and death.
yeah, it's like the Alien franchise. No, I'm saying like we saw every aspect of the toy's life in those 3 films, except where their consciousness is born. That's the only part we didn't see. Toy Story 4 deals with that, and as Max Landis says in that video, it opens a can of worms. Like you can't put it back in the box after you see that movie. Whereas it was better just not knowing. It was just so much better just not even think. It's like Cars, like bloody Pixar's Cars. Regardless of what you think about those movies, it's like the one thing you don't do with those movies is actually think through the logic of how that world works. You just can't do it.
Alric, new to the party, wants to know more about the white hybrids theory. If I understand it correctly, Jurassic Park, Alien, and now Toy Story, all in their 4th films, feature white hybrids, and there are a number of other parallels.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, is there a white hybrid of some description in Pirates of the Caribbean 4? I can't remember. I haven't really watched Pirates of the Caribbean 4 or the movies.
See that one. I dipped out at 2.
Matchy says, Toy Story 4 has a message. Yeah, it's awful.
Harrison McCarthy, Toy Story 4 has no message. Yes, fight.
Yeah, no, Toy Story 4 did have a message. It's a flaming bag of dog shit on your doorstep. You have to stamp out. Gets your shoes all shitty. That's the message they're sending. I don't know, this white hybrids thing is the I was going to make a video, and maybe I will in the future, about the spooky similarities between the Jurassic Park and the Alien franchise. And what's spooky about them is the similarities is the fact that they were made by 2 different film companies at different times, and I don't know if one was looking at the other and they were actually copying off one another, or whether the stars just aligned and they just happened to be doing the same things.
Apparently Cars also follows this trend, according to Harrison McCarthy. The mermaid girl in Pirates 4 is pretty pale.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, the mermaid girl. That's a pretty...
And we at least want to state, I am pro-albino. I don't know about the Terradome 3000 universe, but we do not stand for albino hatred around here.
No. You know, any albino hatred is disavowed. We'll accept those red-eyed, pale-skinned people, you know, no matter what. I'm thinking of like an albino, like a hamster or something. You know, like rabbits, they have those like red eyes. I don't think albinos, humans, they don't have that, do they? Unless they're high. That's the only way I think that could happen in humans.
I think they've got like deep blue or deep purple. I don't know. My only reference for albinos are in movies.
Harrison says, oh no, that was a joke. There's a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. There isn't a car. Yeah, there's not a car sport. Yeah, I don't know. The relationship between the Alien movies and the Jurassic movies, that's something I was going to make a video on, because I actually compiled a list of the similarities on my old mobile phone. I'd written a notebook, and then my phone died completely and I lost it, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, and now I've kind of forgotten most of it. But I'd done this like extensive list of the similarities, because it went more than beyond just the white hybrid in the 4th movie. It went all the way down to like the meta descriptions of like Alien Resurrection was bringing the franchise back after an unsatisfied 3rd chapter, and they were trying to capitalize on what people liked about the first 3 or 2 movies, for the example, and that's what Jurassic World kind of does at the same time. And where does Jurassic World go right, whereas Alien Resurrection might have gone wrong in certain aspects of using things, and vice versa.
British Tyrannosaur says, to be fair, its message is that kids can have attachments to anything, that some people, aka Woody, eventually have to move on, that their uses for you, that they are uses for you beyond the usual role society says you are. Okay.
I don't like 4, but it has themes. I just don't like that they paid off. They also had a TS3. I don't think manages it. I think, see, this is what I mean. That message that James has just laid out from Toy Story 4, to me that feels like that's the filmmakers overthinking the toys' roles in the universe of Toy Story. Because to me, it's a nice message to be like, Andy gives Bonnie his toys. The end. You know, they're toys. They're meant to be toyed with. That's it. To go into this like whole the toys' existential crisis of You know, what's my role in this society? It's like, no, who cares? You are a toy.
Yeah, and we know Disney is not brave enough to really plumb the potential of that really screwy basic premise and then force contrivance to it, or not contrivance, twist.
Yeah.
They're not brave enough to do a toys versus toys movie where they're keeping a few, or there's a serial killer keeping a few in a hut somewhere, and they're helping him out, and it's all dark and gritty.
See, yeah, I'd rather see that.
Movies.
Do those movies. Disney, you've got Star now on your Disney Plus. You've got the adult side of it now. Go for it. Just do it. Why not? People would be talking about that all the time. The thing is, though, like, this is what I mean by like the overthinking of it. It's like in Toy Story 1, you know, you're dealing with a film where Buzz thinks he's a toy, thinks he's a space ranger, sorry, but still freezes whenever Andy's in the room. So, like, that's a plot hole. That's like, okay, and they're not going to address it because why? That's not the point. They're just not going to address it because it's pointless to really do it. It's like, just have fun with the movie about talking toys. And
Harrison McCarthy's right. Terminator 4 does
have a hybrid.
Build off of a third. Yeah, it does.
It has a white hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam Worthington. Again, my favourite aspect of that movie. The guy who doesn't know he's a Terminator. That's such a cool, interesting
love that
angle.
Movie.
Yeah, I like it. I really like that movie. I just wish it was a little bit more. How should I put this? I don't know. Rely a little bit less on the Helen Bonham Carter face angle. Like, I get what they were trying to do with the Skynet at the end, but Skynet felt too cheesy at the end, like the big face going, "We'll destroy everything you love," and all this sort of crap. It's like
the movie works flat without that sequence. You could just honestly take it out.
Or if you make it more like David in 2001: A Space Odyssey. I know that's been done like a million times, but you need to have it cold. To have it like go, I'm going to talk to a human on a human level and give it a face of someone you know, and then it just happens to be Helen Bonham Carter, the famous actress. It does just throw you out of it, and I get what they were trying to do, but remove that and have it be more cold and uncaring. Then I would be like, yeah, okay, it's great. It's a good movie. It is still a good movie.
A voice in his head is just as effective, if not more so.
Yes, yeah, there you go. You got it perfectly there. Even if it was just a voice, that works so much better.
Alaric asks if we touched on Predator from 2018 a little bit earlier. That's a rough film. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, we didn't really dive into it, though. Is there a hybrid in that?
They're trying to make a hybrid because they want to harvest autistic spinal fluid.
Yeah. Because of global warming or something.
Yeah, like, it's...
God, that movie was so shit.
Predator, less is more. Definitely in those movies, less is more. The more mystery you can keep around the Predator, the better it's going to be.
Yeah.
And they do the exact opposite.
God, I could not believe that movie when I was watching it. Like I went in there so excited because there was that poster, that motion poster of the lightning bolt over the city that went into the mask of the Predator. I was like, promotional materials look awesome. I saw the images of the Predator holding the machine gun in the lab. I was like, oh my God, I'm so down for this movie.
And I like everyone involved.
Yep.
I like Thomas Jane. I like the black guy whose name escapes me, Key and/or Peele.
Yeah, and like I like Shane Black. He's not the worst director ever. I know like people don't like Iron Man 3, but I kind of like it. But like the he's a competent director, and he started with the Predator, so it's like coming back home. It had all the elements to be right, and then they just. I don't even know where to begin. Like the thing that jumps to mind, the first thing that jumps to mind is the little kid wearing the helmet of the Predator on his trick or treat escapades, and he blows up a house with a kid in it, and he doesn't even blink.
Yes, Keegan-Michael Key. That guy is a very good actor because he has really good comedic timing. And it bothers me that he didn't go serious. Danny McBride in Alien Covenant, excellent. I love when Jonah Hill. I love when a comedian takes a dark turn. 1 Hour Photo, one of my favorite movies.
Yep, great movie.
Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is the sleeper Adam Sandler hit of the past 10 years.
I see. I've got that on my watch list on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard only good, so I want to watch that. I will get around to it.
War Dogs is fantastic.
But yeah, then you watch The Predator.
Jonah Hill is a bad guy. Jonah Hill would be an excellent Nedry.
Yeah, in like a remake of Jurassic Park. But yeah, no, the Predator is just awful. And then they did those fucking Predator dogs, get shot in the head and becomes their friend, but doesn't do anything. Only brings them like a belt of.
And I like that idea. It just doesn't belong in Predator to me, you know. If there was one of them, if it was just one, and they maybe didn't make it so blatant that the bullet went through his head, I might just buy it, you know. But they overplayed their hand.
Yeah,
that's that whole movie.
But it's like the idea of Predator dogs. Yeah, but the idea of Predator dogs, and you don't use the ones from Predators. Like they've got Predator dogs in that movie.
They were in that movie, weren't they?
And they're cooler. They're way cooler. And it's like you've got these, and they don't have that weird like. They look like they've been genetically engineered in the Predator, obviously, because they have like kind of quasi-Predator faces. But in Predators, they're like these different animals, like an alien dog thing, and I don't know. You use that design and maybe tweak it a little bit, but like you've got it right there, and you just didn't go for it. And then, but then I'm partly thankful for that because I wouldn't want them to ruin that dog with like making it do what it does in that movie.
It's easier to just kind of keep as its own thing. I wonder how Shane Black feels about that movie. I really do.
I bet he feels like he would love to recut it, but the studio won't let him.
That doesn't feel like the same guy who made Iron Man 3 or all the other really good movies under his belt. It doesn't feel executed great.
No, it feels half-assed. Or tampered with, like massively tampered with, because they did all those reshoots, didn't they? So
I would definitely say tampered with. Ooh, I wonder if we'll get the black cut.
Yeah,
because that's the thing now.
Oh my god, yeah! Release the Shane Black cut. I'd welcome it. Can't do any worse. And if it does, my god, what a feat!
Oh yeah, and what's her name? Olivia Munn running. That was definitely inserted. At least I think.
Her running, what, when?
When she's during the middle chase sequence out of the lab, right after she does her naked tactic with the Predator, she gets back on, and then like I don't have the scene fully orchestrated in my head, but they had to redline her from that scene to the other scene some way, and she sprinted her ass off, man.
Okay. I guess I missed that. I've only seen it once in the cinema. I was like, I just vowed I'd never probably watch it again unless I was doing some sort of joking commentary with everyone. We'll probably get around to it one day. But this is the thing. Isn't it weird to think that that's like AVP free? Isn't that weird? That's what really
kind of.
Because they've got the spear there. It's kind of like the alien head in Predator 2, but they've got the spear from the end of AVP in it. And it's like, why are you trying to connect to those movies, Shane Black? No one liked them.
British Tyrannosaur is 100% correct that lab sequence is the height of that movie. And there are bits out of the fight sequences later on. And I do like the Predator going in through the mask and finding out where the other mask is. Like, they know how to use their own gizmos, kind of thing. That kind of stuff I really dig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
like
all
that.
the people that are like, wow, you're a caricature, sir.
Yeah. And the main bad guy who ends up shooting himself in the head, and it's like a blink and you'll miss it in the dark moment. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
For someone they build up really big, too, to bitch him out like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hated that whole scene of those two guys like impaled on the trees or whatever, and they have to shoot each other. No.
I get it. Like the numbers are right, but the math doesn't add up, you know?
Yeah. The lab, just seeing the Predator wield the machine gun was cool. That was awesome imagery, but at the same time, what a waste. And oh my, it could have been so much worse actually, because that end shot of the Iron Man Predator suit coming out and he's like, "There's my suit now," or whatever he says.
Yeah,
like that sucked. But the original ending they had planned, that would have freaking made me. I'd have probably destroyed the cinema I was in.
What was the original ending?
They were going to open a pod, and there was Newt from Aliens in one of the pods.
No.
Yeah, and and Ripley. Okay, this ending Ripley.
Oh god,
there's pictures. They had props. They had the set. They had them on set. They were gonna I don't even know. They may have filmed it. So this might be the black cut. So there's this. I'll send it to you on Discord. People might be able to see this.
Who were you expecting? Santa Claus?
So there's this when they open up a pod. I'm sending it to you on Discord so you can see. And if you open that up, that's a breathing mask that looks similarly like a face hugger, with a Weyland-Yutani logo on it.
So are they just like...
Oh, wait.
Are they forced retconning?
Well, this answers my question. Because look, they did film it. Because there's a frickin' camera. They're filming it. And then... Because they say it's the ultimate alien killer or whatever. That's what they say at the end. So the idea was like, open it up and you've got someone who fights xenomorphs. But where's the thing that says the name? That's what I want to know. Where is that? Oh shit! I can't find the one where it actually shows the name of the character. It's either Newt or Ripley. It's one of those two.
So they're either implying time travel,
yes,
or they're backdating the entire Alien franchise to be concurrent with the 70s.
Yeah, right. Right. There's another image. There you go. Yeah, it's Newt. Here you go. So
the balls on this guy.
I know.
Try that.
Here you go. Here's the one. Look. So if you zoom in on the name, it says "Good morning, Rebecca Jordan." So Newt.
This was after Covenant 2, wasn't it? Or Prometheus.
After Prometheus, yeah.
Wow, that is a glimpse into the motives of
I'm surprised you didn't even know about this. Like this is what I mean. Like this film could have been so much worse, but the Shane Black cut might actually be worse because it does this to the Alien franchise as well. And this is what I was saying. It's why it's the AVP free. It's AVP free. There's no doubt about it.
You know, talk about making a superhero out of one of your characters. Jeez. This is Resident Evil all over again, man.
Yeah. It's awful. It's such a shitty ending. And it's like you said, it just brings up, like, did they time travel? Is it set in the 70s? Like, what's going on? Newt. It's Newt, right? So it's 50 years after Alien already. But she's an adult in this. So, what? How? But then it retcons Alien 3 and Resurrection. So it's like, what a shit show this could have been. And it already was a shit show.
They put this much effort into that pod and not anything else in the movie?
Yeah. And then it ends on that Iron Man suit. Because they knew. I think they knew. the studio saw it and went, "You're not doing this. We're going to meddle. We're going to change this. This is you're going to go down as messing with the Predator movie." As we were just saying, like the math was the numbers were right, but the math was wrong. Like that's how it's gone down. But maybe that's good because maybe the Shane Black cut is like really, really bad.
I am left absolutely flabbergasted. I have no words.
That's why I said it's the biggest disappointment of 2018, but it might have also been the biggest near miss of 2018. We could have got something really bad. It's fascinating though. I want to know all about it. That's the thing. I want to know what the hell they were thinking.
Kate, Ocarina of Time, I am cautiously optimistic about the new Mortal Kombat film. I know it's kind of a niche interest around these parts, but I love the story of those games.
Yeah, I'm completely naive to anything Mortal Kombat, so
you're not missing anything, dude. It's not high drama at all.
Well, no, yeah, I didn't think that, but like I don't even know like character names or anything. Like I'm completely, I don't know anything to do with it aside from. Oh, actually, I don't even know. That might even be a Street Fighter character. Is Johnny Cage?
You didn't see the movie when you were a kid?
No, I haven't seen any of the movies.
First one's worth a watch. It's fun.
I've heard that.
This new one looks good.
I did watch the trailer because Clayton did a video on it on Dragon Curve, and I was like, okay, I want to check this out because he's so hyped about it. It made me want to go check the trailer out. So Clayton did some marketing for him. It worked.
Actually, I just found this out recently. The creator of that movie, I believe Paul W.S. Anderson, attempted to sue NetherRealm Studios and Warner Brothers, saying that his movie was different enough from the games to be legally distinct, and that he was going to roll forward with a third one. With or without anyone's consent.
The balls on him.
He eats franchises, man.
He's the franchise eater. He should have made a franchise out of Event Horizon.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah, this is one good movie. he could have really rolled off on that. Like I don't think anyone would have complained about that.
Sam Neill could use the money. He was a great villain for that film.
Yeah,
holy
really
shit.
Good. Really good. They used to terrify
me as a kid. I'm fresh off of Jurassic Park. I'm like, ooh, scary movie in space. Maybe there are monsters. Alan Grant's the monster. Oh no.
Yeah, that's exactly how I thought about it. I was like, this is terrifying. What are you doing, Grant? Stop, please.
We don't need eyes where we're going.
Yeah, they always talk about that, the hell scene at the end of that. Where he's like, do you see? Do you see? And like
apparently that was supposed to be a lot worse.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They say it's like a lot worse. It's making people throw up and stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Was it really that bad? Because I've seen a lot of really messed up things in movies, and I find it hard to believe that could be anything special. Unless it was like really messed up. But I don't know. We'll never know, I don't think.
Similar story for Dogma. Kevin Smith had a whole extended hell scene planned for when Azrael is describing why he's doing what he's doing and how badly he hates his torment in hell. And it was supposed to be an extended shot of just, Dante's Inferno.
What did they cut that out then?
That was money.
Oh, okay, so it's just money to get rid of it. It's too expensive, Kevin.
It's sad because he has the money now and an actual like on-hand team of people who can do graphics for him, but he doesn't own the rights to it anymore. That all got lost with Weinstein and Disney.
Oh God! So what? See, this is what I mean about film directors. Why don't they just make a new property? But just tell the story that you want to tell. Like,
Kevin Smith did that. Did you watch Yoga Hosers?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't watched Yoga Hosers.
There you go.
Last Kevin Smith film I saw was Tusk. I watched Tusk.
I should watch Tusk.
Tusk was funny, but it was also horribly disturbing at the same time.
For as big of a Kevin Smith fan as I am, I have still not seen the new Jay and Silent Bob movie, and I kind of don't want to.
Nor have I.
And I've met both of them. They are lovely dudes.
Have you really?
I've been to his comic book shop. Yeah, they're all awesome. They're the friendliest people if you ever encounter them. I've never heard a bad word about any of them.
That's good. I like to hear that when you hear about, like, I want to say celebrities. It's good to hear that they're actually nice. I hate hearing when they're assholes.
I went to a film festival 2-3 years ago and actually got to meet him and shake his hand and actually have a conversation with him for a few minutes, and he hugged me. He was the nicest dude.
He's like, help. He whispers in your ear, help me. Weinstein's here. He's got me by the balls. You gotta help me, man. He's got my yoga hoses. What? Lovely to talk to you. Hope you have a nice day. What did you just say, Kevin? Bye. Help.
No. He actually very publicly donated all of the ongoing proceeds from all of his Weinstein-owned films that he still gets a check on to women's help charities.
Yeah, that's good.
He stepped forward on all that.
Yeah, that's good. That's the noble thing to do.
I just don't like any of his movies anymore. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm sorry.
You've gone down a weird path.
They don't hit the same way anymore. And you could tell because Clerks 3 got shut down basically because of that. The guy who played Randall basically said the same thing. Like, look, I don't like the script you handed to me. I don't like the ideas and the jokes and what you're doing with it. So he scrapped the project and he moved on to make Jay and Silent Bob reboot. And it's unfortunate, kind of true.
Yeah.
And he'll even publicly admit he recycled the script from one to the other.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Kevin Smith is an interesting filmmaker because he is sort of in a league of his own kind of thing. He's doing his own thing and he has the power to do that. It's because he's not necessarily making these huge $150 million blockbusters. He's making little movies.
He's writing on small things. British Tyrannosaur points out that it isn't a movie. He's working on the new adaptation of He-Man, which is... Did you see the Netflix Castlevania show?
I watched the first series.
So if you've got any love for He-Man, that same group is now making He-Man with Kevin Smith.
Oh, okay. That's actually an interesting mix.
The animation's good.
Yeah, I think is there like 3 series of that Castlevania series now?
I think so. I've only seen the first 2, if there's a third one.
Okay. Yeah, I've only seen the first 1. I think I started watching season 2, if I remember correctly. I think I started watching, and then I probably got distracted or something. I had other priorities to attend.
Harrison asked why people don't like Land of the Lost. I liked Land of the Lost. It was good. I was disappointed in the fact that the movie. I was disappointed in the fact that it didn't touch on the series in a bigger way. But I'm not the biggest Will Ferrell guy, and that was a fairly good Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah, I actually watched it for the first time a while back. I've only seen it once. I say that a while back. It was last year. It was again sort of similar situation. Baby asleep on me, and I was watching movies. And I was like, I've never seen Land of the Lost. I've talked about it on my old channel, but I haven't actually sat down and watched it. I've only saw clips. But yeah, it was alright. It was funny in parts, but like I could see why people didn't like it. Wasn't anything special. Although it was a little bit more adult than I was expecting it to be, I will say that.
Oh yeah, I've never seen Will Ferrell not go blue. I'm confident he can, but
I guess Austin Powers might be the only thing, but then again, that film is blue, so like he's just
that's so adult.
But he's not like his character and how he plays isn't very adult in that. He's just someone who just won't die, so that's the gag. But then again, that's early Will Ferrell, so don't know if it counts.
He blends into those movies so well.
Mm.
And where did Mike Myers go?
He became the guru and then just disappeared.
Has anyone seen Deep Blue Sea 3? I haven't.
No. I haven't even seen Deep Blue Sea 2. I have a feeling they're not going to be good. Just a hunch.
Yeah, it's not high on my list of crazy shark movies to watch at the current moment. I'll get around to it. It's up my alley. Like I do love a shitty science fiction movie. So it's not like I'm gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's beneath me.
I'm the one sitting here saying it's beneath me. I'll say that. It's beneath me to watch Deep Blue Sea 2.
It's not real unless Thomas Jane is in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Coolio.
Big Shark for $2 says, I'll never watch Deep Blue Sea 2 and 3. There you go. Hey, Yaroslav. How you doing, man? He said, Jack, I finally made it to one. Sweet. Thank you for turning up, man. Sorry you can't see what I'm painting, fellow artist.
It's okay. That's why I'm here. We're going to keep everyone good and distracted. That's the art of magic, if you've ever watched Penn and Teller.
Exactly.
Just keep them distracted.
I'll name this stream Talking Pop Culture with Dr. Tanystropheus. And there you go, YouTube algorithm. I said it. Dr. Tanystropheus. Pop culture. Movies. That's what we've been talking about. Are you reading this?
And I'm on screen through the whole thing.
And he's on screen through the whole thing. So... well, thank you, Yaroslav. You're too kind.
David the Master, which version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? I liked League of Extraordinary Gentlemen 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That was excellent.
I haven't seen 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea for years. That's the one with the octopus, right? Or the squid.
Yeah, that's Nemo in the Nautilus.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched those in years. Get around to watch them. I do like watching old movies like that. You know, I've got a soft spot for that sort of stuff.
Jurassic Room wants you to say the line, the He-Man line.
What's the He-Man line? So I have a power?
Something along those lines.
There you go, I said it. Okay, says Jack, say the He-Man transformation line for the lads. Well, I said it kind of... That was a beta version of saying it. So that's all you get. I'm sorry. You don't get the rippling muscling, I have the power! You get Jack trying to be quiet because his baby's asleep version.
It's okay, I could still pull that out, run it into Audible, and put echoes underneath of it, make it louder.
There you go. I'm going to say it in a really boring way, and that's what you're going to do. Ready? I have the power. There you go. Now make that sound epic.
We can note it about 2 hours. This is where we'll find it.
God, we've been streaming for 3 hours, 13 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've actually done a lot to this picture. Like this coming along real nice. I'm going to show you. I don't know if hopefully this won't break my stream. Maybe I won't. Good. I'll show you afterwards.
Expediting your art and making your job easier is my one and only goal. have you ever seen Journey to the Mysterious #2?
No. No, I have not. But that sounds like a trauma movie.
I have no idea. Journey to the Center of the Earth 2.
Oh, okay. Was that the one with The Rock? Yes, I have.
I thought that
was awful.
Jumanji was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, no, there's a film called Journey 2, and it's got The Rock in it, and it's like the precursor to Jumanji, and there's like him running away from a giant lizard on the front cover. It's awful. It's so bad. But the effects are quite nice for the lizard, I'd say that. It's not the worst. It's like, and it was kind of nice to see that like they did a lizard, like a giant lizard, like you know how they used to film real lizards and blow them up in old movies. They've like recreated that, but in CGI.
I do love shots like that.
Yeah.
They did that in Tremors. That was the last big one I could really think of, where you have a miniature superimposed over someone interacting with said miniature blown up. I'm sure there are a couple others after.
Lord of the Rings is a big one that comes to mind for me.
Oh yeah.
And Lost World.
Where were the
the whole boat crashing into the docks in San Diego is a miniature.
I don't know why I never thought that wouldn't be
the plane
miniature.
In Jurassic Park 3 and the tree. That's a miniature. See, miniatures are still going, man. They do use them. Peter Jackson used them in King Kong. There was a film recently that used them as well. Oh god, a recent movie.
Space Cop.
I haven't seen Space Cop, man. I feel so bad. I really want to watch it. That and the AVGN movie, which I know people, from what I've heard, have said it's not like amazing, but like
it's better than Kick-Assia.
Yeah, like I haven't seen those movies from these prominent YouTubers that I'm a fan of. I do need to get around to watching them. Space Cop. Maybe we should watch that together one day, like off stream or something. Just sit down and watch it.
Yaroslav wants to know if you prefer... Okay, Jack, I've been watching Deep Impact clips recently. I've seen both films, but which do you prefer, Deep Impact or Armageddon? Two different styles, both anxiety-inducing. You could edit those two movies together, and I think they're both improved for it.
See, I watched Deep Impact recently, so my mind goes to that, but obviously Armageddon is a very fun movie. I have a lot of nostalgia for Armageddon, more so than I do Deep Impact. But I might have to go... sorry, go on. You have the benefit.
I have the benefit of having just recently watched Armageddon, and the best part of that movie is the first 30 minutes, and then all the stuff on the asteroid just gets boring after a while until Bruce kills himself.
Yeah, that's how I kind of remember it. They're going just backwards and forwards on the asteroid, like jumping from one crater to another, and then drilling, and it's
everything is exploding and bad.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go with Deep Impact. It's a much more serious movie in its tone, but you know, you got the whole sequence where the actual asteroid hits and it's like huge, and there's that epic scene, and James Horner does the score, so that kind of wins it over for me because I'm a huge James Horner fan. Yeah, I'm gonna go Deep Impact.
I should rewatch. I haven't seen Deep Impact in a long time.
It's well worth checking out.
I guess I got to default to Armageddon on that one, just because like I know what to expect. Whereas, yeah, I should rewatch Deep Impact because it's got President Morgan Freeman in it.
Yeah, President Morgan Freeman.
We will survive this deep impact.
I have this, like, I love movies where, like, something some global event is about to happen, and you follow the first half of the movie following the governments as they're dealing with the news of this. There's something about that I really enjoy. Like Independence Day,
yeah.
like the first part of Independence Day where they're picking up the signals and they're like, they don't know what it is.
It plays like an episode of The West Wing.
Yes, that's what I like. That's what I really like about those types of movies. And Deep Impact does that to a T in the opening, because they're
The
like
Martian.
The Martian. So like at the beginning of Deep Impact, there's an astronomer is looking through a telescope and sees the comet.
Oh, and his little friend Frodo helps him. I remember this.
Well, Frodo's looking through he's separate. He's like looking for a telescope, and they name it. But there's a guy in a telescope, like a big telescope, and he's looking at it, and then he calculates its trajectory and knows when it's going to hit. But he's panicking, and he drives, and he crashes his car, so that information dies with him. And then you cut to like the future, and the governments are learning about it, and it's like it's good. It's good time. It's like it's not as kooky and fun as Michael Bay's Armageddon, but like it's definitely more like, if this was to really happen, this is kind of what it would be like. Kind of
Michael Bay's Armageddon has a very similar scene, cranked up to 11 for kooky laughs.
Yeah.
It's a pissed off old astronomer and his wife who gets a divorce, and he just maritally abuses her until he gets his notebook to call NASA. Because it doesn't matter about their divorce and their seething hatred for each other. He found the big rock.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. See, I haven't watched Armageddon in a while, so I need to watch it. Do you know the Armageddon went into the Criterion collection of movies because it has, if I remember correctly, it's like touted as having the perfect example of how to set up characters. Like, about the Criterion collection of movies, right? Like, they're the ones that, like, master filmmakers go, this should go into the Criterion collection for its genius. The Armageddon went in there for that, for, like, how to set up characters.
For its marketing, it should be in there. I remember that. I remember that damn Aerosmith song everywhere. Yes,
Jack, same. I hear you.
Yes, they're arguing. What's wrong with War of the Worlds? War of the Worlds isn't bad.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who doesn't like War of the Worlds. The only people I've heard in the past who don't like War of the Worlds are like film critics. But like, since when do they matter?
The family stuff is boring. I don't care for any of that, but the action's good.
See, I don't mind the family stuff because it's more. It's Tom Hanks' character. Tom Hanks. What the fuck am I talking about? Tom Cruise. Tom Hanks pissing on
that might
robot.
Improve the family stuff in the movie. Tom Hanks in there.
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise. He's running, right? That's the movie. He has that whole scene where he runs away from the tripods. But like, I like that. That movie's fun because it's like you don't leave Tom Cruise's side aside from like 2 shots in the movie. You have like an aerial shot of the tripod rising up, and there's one later on when they're coming up the hill. Aside from that, you're like no more than 10 meters away from Tom Cruise through the whole movie, and it's just interesting because you see everything from his perspective. So like, the family stuff I don't mind because it's more like you're seeing it from Tom Cruise's perspective. And
Terminator 4 did kind of borrow heavily from that mid sequence when the hunter killer ship is abducting people the same way as the tripods. Those scenes back to back are very similar.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh. I'm probably gonna have to go in a sec because it's late here and I've got work tomorrow. I've been streaming for 3.5 hours nearly. Maybe we'll call it in 10 minutes.
Okay, that sounds good.
And then
Tom Hanks definitely isn't that type of actor anymore. For War of the Worlds, you mean? I figure.
Tom Cruise. I've got you doing it now.
Oh no,
Tom
I was reading from chat.
Oh right, Tom Hanks pisses on a tripod. Yeah.
Skyline. I don't remember Skyline coming out at the same time.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Skyline.
Ooh. Is Ready Player One really going to be Steven Spielberg's swan song?
No, Jaws 2 is. He's going to finally make Jaws 2.
Oh, is that... Oh.
That's what I want him to do. I want him to go, I'm going to finish my career on making a sequel to Jaws. And retcons all the other Jaws films. And it's his Jaws. Whatever he wants to do it. Spielberg, you know you want to.
Jurassic Room, Ready Player One, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a masterpiece.
No.
The best thing that movie did was prove that an on-screen Gundam is a viable property. Anything that brings Gundam to the big screen, I'm all for.
Leave Jaws 4 alone, says Big Shark. No, Spielberg will just make Jaws 2 and it'll basically be Jaws 4 again. Just with a CGI shark this time.
No white hybrids in that one.
Any white hybrids in Jaws 4?
Nah, it's just...
Well, there's a great white. And it telepathically communicates with the lead lady.
The opening of that movie terrified me.
When you were a kid, yeah, or when you were younger, yeah, that terrified me. It was the combination of and I think I say this on the commentary, it's the combination of like people singing Christmas songs, and it's like this cold winter's night, and he's out there. I don't know, it's just something about it that really got to me. The visceral nature of the attack as well. It's the only real good bit in Jaws 4.
I don't remember what channels they were on. Jaws 3D and Jaws 4 were always on repeat for me growing up. Those are the ones I've seen the most. And I like the original Jaws and Jaws 2 even, but the ones I know front to back are the one with the Jamaican guy and the one in SeaWorld.
Yeah, Jaws 2 was the elusive one when I was a kid. I could not find that one for love nor money. Couldn't find it in my rental stores. They didn't have it. Never came on TV. If it did, I missed it. Could never see it for years. Or like I saw bits of it, and then I'd be like, or I caught the ending. It's like I really want to watch that whole film.
Was it worth it when you finally saw it?
Kinda. I don't know. Yes, I will say yes, because it answered a lot of things for me. It was like, oh, that's where why the ride has Jaws get electrocuted. But no, Jaws 1 was the one I've seen like the most, and Jaws 4 I had on VHS when I was a kid, and I watched that one all the bloody time. I loved Jaws 4 as a kid, and I still do as an adult. It's just for all the wrong reasons.
That had two different endings. One where the Jamaican guy survives, and one where he just disappears and they don't show him swimming away with everybody else.
Yes.
Like they specifically shot two different endings.
Mm.
They don't know why over that detail.
Well, I had on my VHS, which was recorded off TV, I had the version where he never came back. And that's the better ending. That's also the one where the shark gets impaled on the front of the boat and then breaks the whole front half of the boat off and sinks rather than explodes when it gets impaled.
We had already jumped the shark, quote unquote, hearing it roar.
I'd say when it telepathically communicates with Ellen Brody, that's where it jumped the shark, and that's right in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, apparently Roy Schneider is in Punisher 2004. His scenes are near a beach, and then Thomas Jane, Deep Blue Sea, who is the Punisher in that movie from Yaroslav. Any opinion on Bates Motel from Guess Who?
David. Nope, never watched it.
British Tyrannosaur. I remember Jack talking about Spielberg's Jaws 2 being about bull sharks, like a whole other shark might be interesting, especially in the murky Amazon waters.
Yeah. I was saying, yeah, you just, instead of having it set at the same location with the same characters, you do, it'd be like an anthology type thing. Different type of Jaws. Just
the third in the trilogy after Tusk and Yoga Hosers was supposed to be Moose Jaws.
I know.
I want that.
I want that more than anything. I really want him to do that. I heard about that. I was like, oh, yes, please. But I don't know if we are going to get it. Right, I think I'm going to end it here.
Fair enough. It has been lovely, and thank you for having me on.
Hey, no worries. You're more than welcome to come on at any time you want, even next week if you want. Just whenever if you want to just chat.
Well, I have cleared my schedule.
Sweet. All right, then. I'm not going to actually hang up on Discord, by the way. So I'll show you what I've done. Cheers, everyone, for coming by this week. Thank you, Big Shark, for all the tips. You're the man. And Yaroslav, I just want to say special mention to you for coming along, because it's nice to have you here. And everyone else, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next Friday, 9 a.m. UK time. And have a good week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers.